welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know I would do it for you, and let's party. We got a special party tonight. We got a very special guest. Let's welcome our boy, Zippydsmlee. Welcome to the party, sir.
Hello.
How you doing, buddy?
All right. I've been working out today, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. So, all the time when you're in the chat, we are talking about, we could be talking about anything. And you'd be like, yep, see, there's another reason why we need to abolish IP rights. And sometimes we try to get into it and see what exactly you mean. But, obviously the chat is not the best place to do it. So I figured let's bring you on and really get into it. Before we do that, really quick, let's shout out M169. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. Zippy, give us an overview on generally why IP rights are bad and what in general do we want from that space.
Looking at the kind of the just simple mechanical operations of it, IP rights feeds into funding and investment, which feeds into business, which feeds into government. And, well, the corruption is so palatable that it's just a feedback loop.
And so, because my main concern is that, again, if I have intellectual property like this stream and I don't have any rights to that, then I'm worried about how I could make money from that. And so you're saying you can propose something where the bad parts of where IP rights are today, we can get rid of them and still I can make some money. Is that right?
Yes and no. Sorry, I'm a bit on the slow side. That's
all right.
It breaks down into, I've kind of settled my thoughts on two systems to kind of, one is to augment IP rights. The other one is just to get rid of the nonsense and focus on fraud and market reputation. For someone like you, you're basically working it every day. You are the product, literally. Yep. And the most anyone else can do is just kind of restream it. Mm-hmm. But that's not you.
Right. So here, why don't we do this real quick? Let's shout out our boy King Nirvana. Welcome to the party. So everybody's here for Zippy. We love Zippy. So I have a couple videos here that maybe will help us get started. And and we also got Zippydsmlee in the chat. There we go. So we got a couple of short videos here just about what IP is and what IP rights are, and then hopefully that'll give us a good jump off.
Intellectual property, or IP, refers to something a person has either thought of or created. Some examples of IP include designs, processes, songs, logos, discoveries, symbols, and even brand new varieties of plants. IP belongs to the person who thought it up or put the work into creating it. They get to decide who makes it, how and where it's used, and who can sell and profit from it. But how can thinkers and creators keep their IP safe from misuse by others? After all, in a digital world, it's easy to copy an idea or a design. Luckily, there are laws in place to protect IP once a person is ready to go public with it. There are 4 major paths to legal protection. Applying for a patent. Patents cover things like inventions, new processes, new machines, and new ways of manufacturing things. Applying for a copyright. Copyrights protect works like art, music, writings, movies, and even software. Using a trademark to cover unique branding and identifiers like business names, logos, slogans, mascots, and more. Keeping something secret. Trade secrets make sure that things like manufacturing processes, formulas, and compilations of information never make it into the wrong hands. Getting these protections in place may seem difficult or time-consuming at first, but protecting yourself is well worth the time and effort, and it's not as hard as you may think. This is where technology transfer, or T2, comes in. T2 helps negotiate the use, sharing, and assigning of IP so that companies and individuals can use government technology, or a joint project between the government and private sector can take place. T2 can make it easy to license a patent or share confidential information so both parties can help each other solve problems or create new products.
So, I mean, that's a pretty basic overview of what exactly we are talking about. Anything to add before we move on to the actual property law?
They didn't seem to really cover it, but copyright, you don't necessarily have to register a copyright. If you make it, you kind of, but there is a fancy legal process to have something copyrighted. But at the same time, if you make it, it's yours.
Yeah, and so like with this stream, automatically by us being here, I automatically already own this. I don't have to sign anything,
jump
or
through any
register
hoops.
anything.
Right. That's why they can DMCA your ass to hell and back.
Right. Awesome. So
the next there's two other points I'd like to cover. Trade secrets kind of go into not so much contracts, but definitely kind of corporate espionage stuff, where the processes of the business are being stolen. So I don't necessarily think getting rid of IP rights would get rid of trade secret stuff. And as far as
trade secrets, meaning like if I work at Apple and I know that we're about to release some feature, and
other processes of the business, or business operations and stuff like that, it can fit somewhat nicely into a corporate espionage type of branch.
Right.
And another thing is that you can deal with trade secrets. You can share trade secrets through contract, so you don't necessarily, but then again, it falls under the corporate espionage to protect it, from a third party.
So what do you mean? What do you mean share it through a contract?
Well, the contract gives both parties access to the thing based on the contract. So the corporate espionage laws would not, interfere with the contract, but if you're outside the contract, they can go after you.
Gotcha. So like if that would come into play if like somebody else wanted to like license this stream and show it within the contract.
The trade secrets and corporate espionage has more to do with business operations, not IP.
Gotcha. All right, so let's see. Let's get into this video about the law a little bit more, and then hopefully we can jump off from there. Let's say hello to the viewerski. Welcome to the party. Highly recommended. R.I.P. a remix manifesto. In particular, the scene on the Potomac with a former Clinton admin. Plus, it happened to have girl talking.
What?
I have no idea what that means, but welcome to the party. We also got Box in the building. Welcome. Shout out to K-Ram. Very good to see ya. Welcome. So Box said, I'm not allowed to talk about how we make what we make in public, or even who we make it for. So the talking about the process, not the product. So, and then, yeah, MS9 trade secrets like the recipe for Coke or KFC. So this wouldn't, so that part isn't necessarily as relevant to, like, because I'm going to keep bringing it back to, this stream, my ownership of this stream, if somebody wanted to license this stream so that we could keep it grounded in that.
Trade secrets basically have to do more with leaking data. You don't want your business, you don't want your business operations and other data connected to the business to be leaked.
Gotcha. All right. So that was a little thing on, again, just what intellectual property is. This is a little bit more specific on the laws surrounding intellectual property and patent law specifically. Shout out to Rhett. Welcome. Very good to see you, sir.
Registered patent attorneys receive many questions throughout the course of a day. One of the most common questions is my invention patentable? We will look at the various issues that go into answering this question, including what is a patent, what is patentable, And what rights does a patent confer? Additionally, we will look at 3 types of patents and what each is used for.
And Zippy, stop me if there's something where you want to jump in.
There are 3 types of patents. These 3 are utility, design, and plant. Utility patents are what people think of when they think patents. Utility patents are patents on useful items. These are the patents one would get on an invention. Such a patent covers the usefulness of a product, meaning that a utility patent will protect the useful or functional aspects of an invention. Design patents are to the ornamental design of an object. A simple way to approach design patents is to consider the fins on the car. If you remember old 1950s era cars, many of them had big fins on them.
If I may,
Yep.
That to me is more, that's almost in the copyright spectrum.
I was kind of thinking that. I was kind of thinking that sounds a little bit more like copyright, and this is a little bit more specific with patent law, not
patent. Yes, patents tend to deal with more physical things.
Gotcha.
And processes as well, I suppose, because the processes and planning and organization a franchise has can be patentable.
Interesting. Okay, good. Yeah. So that, just keep doing that, and we're gonna nail this down. We are going to figure it out. We also got CT223. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you guys. Please don't forget to hit that like button, and of course, if you are new here, please do subscribe. We are live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, and sometimes whenever I feel like it. So hit that sub, and also ring the bell. So this is more of a discussion, all the time. We're trying to figure out what the fuck is Zippy saying with the IP rights and abolishing them. And so we finally had to sit him down and get it out of him. So this video that we are watching, this part specifically is a little bit more closer to copyright, but we're just getting a base, and then we'll see where it takes us.
If you remember old 1950s era cars, many of them had big fins on them. They served no purpose other than to look cool. The fins did not make the cars faster, improve aerodynamics, and did not serve any function. They were pure design. Design patents are to protect these design elements. Functional parts of the car, e.g. the engine, transmission, brakes, etc., would be covered by utility patents instead. Finally, we have plant patents. Plant patents are to cover new types of flowering plants that can be reproduced asexually. Flowers are plant sex organs and contain both the male and female parts. Pollen is basically plant sperm, something to keep in mind during allergy season. Plant patents thus apply to plants that are engineered to reproduce without the use of pollen. When a product or process is new and useful, it is very likely that it is patentable. To be patentable,
And again, that's the new idea.
an invention must satisfy 3 basic elements. The invention must be new, useful, and not obvious. The requirement of being new, also called the novelty requirement, is the easiest for non-practitioners to understand, but is often the hardest part of the
You can say this stuff out loud, bro.
patent prosecution process. To get a patent on an invention, the invention must be new.
You've been striked
Practicing
once.
patent law, much of the process focuses on explaining how and why
What's up?
You've been striked once. I don't want to get you in too much trouble.
Fair enough. But ironically, it was the typing that they didn't like. So I think we are good. Karen says, meow.
invention must be new. In practicing patent law, much of the process focuses on explaining how and why the invention is different from what came before. Everything that came before is referred to as the prior art. The invention cannot be expressly or implicitly disclosed in any prior art references.
So meaning like if I'm trying to patent this thingy and this already exists in something there, then I can't, it's not new.
Pretty
Right.
much.
If there is already a patent for the invention, a patent application for the invention, a description of the invention in a printed publication, or a product in use that already uses the process used by the invention does not meet the novelty requirement.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. You're gonna have a patent measuring contest. If you know, you know.
Also got to remember that lawyers are able to weave, bob, and warp.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say so the first one was new, useful, and not obvious. I was gonna say they really stretch that not obvious with certain patents.
But there's also something, I don't know if the legal term is derivative patents, but you can apply for a derivative and parlay with the IP owner to basically have your idea implemented with their IP, and there's some sort of deal made from that. But it's kind of like a sub-process.
Gotcha. All right, we'll get into that. So you said, definitely think IP is important for capitalism or freedom of ideas, but it gets abused by corporations. Like when Disney drops a Little Mermaid remake to keep the IP modernized. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that? I think you were mentioning something about that, and how that's really. But really quick, let's I've got a shout out, of course, over on Rumble. We got equality and deference because vagina said liked and shared. Thank you so very, very much. You guys know how much that stuff is free and easy, and it really, really does help the channel. It doesn't even matter if you think anybody's going to click on the link. Just by you telling YouTube, X, or Rumble that you want more people to see it, they will show it to more people. Thank you, and welcome to the party. Well, I said the best argument against IP, the government enforces it and sets the rules.
Kind of. That's kind of 50-50 right there.
Yeah.
The courts enforce it, and the courts are attached to government. And the government also makes the rules, but it's only kind of like 60-70%. Yeah, 60% government, I'd say.
Still a lot of government. But yeah, talk a little bit about how they're, all these remakes. It's not just because they're out of ideas.
About what I think capitalism is?
Sure.
Capitalism is trade by and for the people. So when you have groups, organizations, and government monopolizing parts of trade, that kind of, it's no longer really capitalism. Of course, capitalism started from, feudal societies. So, the merchants had control, and then slowly more, new blood, new money came in as, capitalism started to take off. And then, around the 20s or 30s, a little bit before, World War I or World War II, socialism pretty much took over because government has its fingers in so many pies. What else can you call it?
And so it's just another tactic. It's just another tactic to hang on to power. So like what CT was saying, if they hadn't made these remakes, then
for Disney it's different. They made the IP, and they made the IP from public domain stuff. Remember that there's stuff that most of what Disney made is made from public domain myths, legends, fairy tales.
Okay, yeah.
But the stuff that they've made, they have ownership over it, and they can't lose their own rights. When like Warner Brothers is forced to make a Batman or Superman film every 5-10 years, they don't exclusively own the rights. They are licensed. The IP owner DC licensed the rights to them, and so they keep the film rights until they stop making films. And after 5-10 years, whenever I think it's like 7 or so years, that the rights default back to DC, and DC can then give the film rights out. The way, especially with film rights, is it's very, very, very exclusive. So when they sell the film rights, it tends to be for a lot of money, and that person has the rights until they no longer make films.
Gotcha. So it's and again, another gatekeeping aspect, because they don't want other people to just be able to make similar stories and do what they've been doing.
Well, all things considered, you could make generic clones of stuff. There is a somewhat loose 70% rule to a copyright. So you could make a Batman film,
Catman,
and it be very, very close to the source material with names and stuff changed, as long as they're not plagiarizing whole paragraph sections or whatever of the original. They can someone can do it.
Right. Well, but that's exactly what I mean. That they want to have, Disney wants that barrier that somebody else has. If they're going to copy them, then they have to jump through the hoops to make sure it's different enough.
Well, the weird thing is that I'm trying to remember what story The Little Mermaid is, what, fairy tale The Little Mermaid is based on, but it's kind of so generic that anyone could make a Little Mermaid film.
Let's see.
They might not be able to call it The Little Mermaid, but anyone could make that. But Disney is rather, litigious.
So, yes, Hans Christian Andersen. The Little Mermaid comes from the literary fairy tale of the same name by Hans Christian Andersen in 1837.
Interesting. So that means that they could probably use the name The Little Mermaid, but they probably wouldn't be able to pass trademark. Trademark is a weird... trademark is all about promotion and advertisement. So it's about grabbing market attention.
They're good at copying a lot of stuff and then being like, no, I came up with this. Trust me, bro.
And they're also good about stealing people's stories that people pitch to them. Disney is very good. Disney is a pro at IP theft. Now, I almost want to say so is Nintendo, but Nintendo did make a lot of unique things, so I can't harangue on them as much as Disney. But
it's me, Mario. Don't tell me they took that from somewhere.
No, but a lot of the Pokemon stuff came from Dragon Quest.
Interesting. So Claudia says, good and simple definition of free markets. The matrix of free exchange. Basic rules, no government subsidy. Yeah, I think I agree with that. Disagree with that? Red said, I do half agree with Zippy, but I feel like only story, meaning video games, movies, books, etc., rights should be dropped. But the real stuff used for actual machinery should be protected by IP. All right, what do we think about that, Zippy?
Patent law is... One of the best things about copyright is it's so vague that you got that 70%, that almost 70% rule that you can make copies from, but patents are so much of a rabbit hole that lawyers can fight it in courts for decades. I mean, the chip manufacturers have gone through, suing each other over design, quote unquote, designs. So it's kind of like, do you really want to have the market mired in all of this, creativity and trade blocking just to protect basically corporations?
What exactly do you mean by trade blocking?
Well, you can be, an army of lawyers can sue you for selling a thing that looks like, their patent. And then you have to fight it out in the courts.
Gotcha. So CDs,
and then sometimes they will browbeat you so much that they'll buy it off of you for pennies on the dollar. I mean, it can be real nasty when things get to the courts.
Well, but that's why it sounds to me like we do need these IP rights, and Rhett is saying for the actual machinery, and CT is saying that it's an oxymoron. Not saying it's perfect, but that's why we need copyright or IP laws. And that's where I keep coming back.
I don't necessarily disagree, but the problem is, can you trust government to arbitrate?
Even if we can't, what is the alternative? What? So if I say no, and we agree no, then what? Where does that get us?
Well, do you want to go down the revenue share path or the nuking IP path?
Whichever is, I don't know, man. You're here to teach. You're here to teach us.
Well, if you nuke IP, basically the two things that I would not mind remaining would be, corporate espionage, where businesses, their operations and their data is protected so that they have control over it. So The
Like when you
things
sign
that
up for
they-
Disney Plus, they have your information and they can sell it, they can do with what they want with it.
Well, this has more to do with, business operations, the stuff they're planning, things like that.
So you're talking about like the heads of Disney and who they're working with to whatever their next project is.
Whatever they've got in production, stuff like that. That data set, that information should be protected.
Okay, so I agree there. But doesn't that mean we're not abolishing IP rights then?
No, because that has to do with business operations and stuff attached to business operations, not so much IP.
So what? So then, are you saying you would change the laws around that around the IP with that, or are you saying we would have a different type of process?
It would be a different rule set. You'd have the trade secret protection, the corporate espionage trade secret protections, and then you would have brain fart. You would have trademarks. Trademarks are interesting because you basically rent them for 2 or 5 years from government in order to have the exclusive trademark for the thing.
On that, there's different levels to this, and I think yours exactly what CT is saying, that we're talking about a difference of civil and criminal cases. But even so you said it. So even regardless if it's civil or criminal, we're talking about government versus individual or private. Like if you have again, we'll bring it back to the stream. If I have even you, so even though you are on this stream, if you wanted to just repost it, then I mean, obviously I wouldn't care, but I would have legal right to copyright claim that. And if there's no IP rights as they exist, then I guess what I'm asking is, what would be the process if, let's say, I didn't like somebody and I was going to be, again, hey, all of you are free to clip this to hell and put it out wherever you want. But if I wasn't, if I was like Jubilee and I was like, use 5 seconds, no, I want all the money. What would be the process of enforcing that?
Do better.
What? What do you mean?
Here's the thing: without IP, basically means you up your game and stay ahead. Here's the thing: for you, it's not going to mean much because everything comes back to you.
Right, but so then let's go back to Disney then. So let's say Disney doesn't want me just playing the new whatever movie on my stream, and I'm just, we just go full screen like that and just show the movie. They obviously don't want that. And so they have as it is, the laws are in place, they have the copyright, and if I were to do that, they would be justified to give me a takedown order or any of that stuff.
With no IP, you can do that, but you cannot make claims that you made it. You also,
right? But you keep bringing up the government, but we're not talking about the government. Disney's not the government, and I'm not the government. I'm stealing from another person under the current IP rights, and so IP laws. And you're saying you want to get rid of those laws, but we also don't want people to be able to steal intellectual property. So what is the mechanism that Disney, even though we don't like Disney, the laws are the laws, or even if we change the laws, the principle is the principle, that's Disney's property. And if I'm stealing that property, what is the mechanism?
I sincerely do not believe that thoughts can be property.
Well, okay, but a movie is not just a thought. A movie is actual people, being in a place filming a thing.
And there's so much waste and corruption in the production of that thing that
sure, but that's besides the point. Where again,
exactly.
You brought it. So you keep bringing up the government, and what CT is saying is that it's not always a government. It could be in a private entity versus private entity.
Well, when you get rid of IP rights, there is nothing but your own labor.
Okay. So how does Disney prevent me from stealing their labor?
Do better, make better stuff, bring the consumers to them.
Ah, so you're just
Competition is the
complete.
ultimate.
So, but
Competition is
why
the
would I
ultimate.
do that? Why would I try to make something better when I can just steal what's already out there?
Well, where's the market going to go to find who made the thing?
Wherever they can find it, as we were just talking about. Like, you guys love watching The Indian Jesus, but not a single one of you said that if I were to move the last half hour of the show to Rumble, that you guys would go. I mean, maybe you personally would, but in the poll, nobody said that, and that's not to say that people don't like me and people don't want to watch me. It's the fact that, well, it's here. I've let you guys know. I've gotten you guys to subscribe so that at the very least, if you don't get a notification, it shows it right there.
Yes, and why is Rumble not popular? Because the way the monopolies have rigged the game. See, that's the thing. When you get rid of IP rights, it creates competition. So you split the market between abusive business practices and businesses that want to work with creators to make money.
But again, so fine. Let's say we have that, right? And then I get together with those people and I make some content. If somebody else who just, let's bring it the lowest hanging fruit. The lowest hanging fruit. Let's say I have great content and this and people like it, but they're racist and they're like, well, if a white person does this, then I'll get more views. And so they copy the video beat for beat, but because they're a white person, now that according to the market, that is better than mine. What incentive do I have to keep making videos or to try to make a better video when there's things like that? And again, I'm using the most low-hanging fruit, but there's other things there as
Market
well.
trends change a lot.
The
You
what?
have to follow the trends. But again, because there is no real market competition, the monopolies set the trends. I mean, look at,
I don't know. I don't think you're really engaging with what I'm asking you. I'm asking you if you keep saying do better, but my question to you is why? If that's how it is, why would I do better if when I do better, somebody else can steal it?
Well,
why would I not just steal what is already out there? That's good.
Job.
Say that again.
Why do you work a 9-to-5 job?
I don't work a 9-to-5 job.
Well, you do have a job.
Yeah, for money. What's your point? Did we lose
I'm
him?
trying to think. You know how musicians work? They get gigs, they get commissions, it's a lot of legwork, and the vast majority of them start out as they have a day job of some sort and they do music as a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they get popular enough that they're able to fill venues and turn their hobby into a job.
Right. That's what I'm trying to do. But again, if somebody can steal my content, then
but they're not you. See, they're not you.
That doesn't mean so. Okay, how does that change what I'm asking you? I'm saying what incentive do I have to make better content if no matter how good the content is, somebody can steal it? And also, there's better content out there already and I can steal it. What incentive do I have to make that content in the first place? So I did drop the link and I pinned it up if you guys want to come up and join the conversation. I just ask that you please use the same name that you are on YouTube and come on up. But do you see what I'm getting at, Zippy?
Yes, but also it's tough. It's tough. There's competition out there, but IP rights is not protecting you.
Okay,
Not unless you can afford the lawyers.
I'm engaging with that being true. I'm engaging with the notion that okay, that is true. But if that is the case, then why would we want to change it such that there's no incentives for people to want to create something new and better?
Is anything really being created new and better?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly there's a lot that's not, but yeah. Welcome to CT223. Welcome to the party.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, bro? What's up, Zippy?
What do you got for us, CT?
I don't know. I do think this is an interesting conversation. I think it is like kind of what I said in the first message I posted. I do think it gets abused by corporations. And I think that might have been what the angle kind of Zippy's taken is like the government steps in and then prevents. I mean, that's kind of like capitalism when there's too many restrictions. The government steps in, or if you want to have an idea, you can't do it. But to say abolish it doesn't make sense to me. And then I sent I don't know if you pulled it up, but I sent a message in the chat when you kept saying just do better. When you say that applies to me. That applies a sense of morality to.
Well, no. I mean, if I could jump in, I think when Zippy says do better, I think he means make better content, make what the people want more, right?
Okay. Well, yeah. I guess I'm interpreting it in a different way. Yeah, I mean, that it would be free market would be like make better content. The best will always come out to the top, but.
Right, and so that's where I'm getting stuck, because I can understand in a general free market sense that you know if you do better stuff, then people will pay attention to you. But if you do better stuff and there's no protection that it's you, then whoever has like let's say I come out with the best video ever, but I have this channel now. Boxer just bringing up Moist Critical. If Moist Critical sees my video and decides to recreate that video, then he is going to get all the views because he already has the platform.
Yeah, and
so and I have no recourse to be like, hey, that's my.
If I may, AI tools can almost already do that.
Yeah, no,
but you're disagreeing with that, no?
AI too. No, I think you don't always have to be first to the market. You just have to be best, and that's kind of an old saying in business, which is true in the sense, in the metaphor if you're saying with like Moist Critical is that he has a much larger platform, so he doesn't have to be first. If he just does it, he will get credit for being
right, and that's an issue. That's why I need those IP rights to protect my intellectual property, because of the fact that he already has a platform. If he wants to steal from me and there's no recourse, then anything that I do, I have no incentive to do anything, because he already has such a leg up on his audience. He's been doing this longer. He's got better cameras. All that stuff. If he could just sit back and watch everything that I do, I could get better and better and better and better and better and better and better, and then he could just steal it, and I would never ever be able to make a living.
Two things: fair use, which means he kind of can.
No, it has to be transformative. He can't just download my video and put it up. It has to be transformative. So yeah, commentary like we do on a normal show is totally fine, but you can't just steal somebody's content like that.
Yes, but AI tools are going to make that not nearly instant.
Okay.
Yeah, but also that's even fair use though. Yeah. Honestly, I think the Supreme Court will eventually have to rule on it, because you're not wrong, Zippy. I think AI is gonna step in, and the Supreme Court has ruled in on fair use, and eventually they're probably gonna have to make a second ruling about AI and fair use. That will probably be a future court case.
And that's going to be fun as the corporations can make AI so human-like that they can kind of wing it enough to skirt the law while everybody else is forced to follow the law. But again, this whole new IP from orbit rabbit hole is kind of a meh. It's a meh solution.
But you're saying it's meh, but it's better.
What do you mean? The new orbit? What'd you say?
Nuke IP rights from orbit.
Just
get rid of them.
So that's what you're proposing. You're saying your system is not ideal, but it's better than we have.
It's not ideal, but it is functional. The competition that it creates will wind up creating more.
I'll be honest with you. I'm still confused. So you're saying if we get rid of IP rights, it would lead to more competition?
Well, they can no longer monopolize the market. And so the monopoly.
So, okay, wait. So, okay, fine. So it seems like you said you're answering yes to that question. Yes, because so let's dig into that. So
yeah, that's, to me, I completely disagree. Yeah, I think the reason they can't monopolize the market is because there's IP rights.
That's what I think.
If there were no IP rights, they could do it tomorrow.
So then, Zippy, go ahead. Explain how they would not be able to
monopolize. There's so
monopolize.
Much waste and corruption in corporate that without IP rights, they cannot maintain their monopolies. So again, the market will be split between businesses that are built on bad business practices, spam and slop, and then you have businesses that have to appear and actually be, pro-creator and pro-consumer and work with people and cooperate and focus on that to be able to differentiate themselves in the market.
So I think I see what you're saying. Are you saying that with that, I'm not saying I agree, I'm just trying to break down what your thought process is. So you're saying without IP rights, you think it would lead to more creativity?
Yes.
I think the exact opposite.
Yeah, I completely agree with the CT. I think, like I said before, it stifles the incentive to try to do anything new because there's no. Yeah. So not only is if I do create something good, it could be stolen, but I don't even have to create something good because I can steal something else that's already good. Because it's so decentralized, then unless it is somebody who is in the stratosphere of popularity, then I can have an entire corner of the internet where somebody's working really hard to make these videos, and I'm just stealing them and making the same or more money. Yeah, what's the incentive for me to create and do better? Why would I do better when I could just steal better?
Well, then you just go back to having a day job.
But I wouldn't have to. I'm just stealing content. I'm doing less work than I am now. I'm making more money.
How the monopolies aren't able to control advertisement, and advertisement isn't going to put up with slop that much unless it really, and even then, the monopolies are also, the advertisers. So again, the competition will gut this current system and rebalance it.
I listen, Zippy, I want to say, I respect you for coming on here and like having these chats. This is what it's all about. But like,
it's a rabbit hole.
And what I want to say too is I completely agree with you that I think a lot of entertainment currently is monopolized. We're in this weird era where we have social media apps like TikTok and YouTube and Instagram where you can go live and you can be original. But I don't agree with your correlation that like just because the monopolies are corrupt that they get to block out everyone else because they're manipulating the IP laws. I'd see it's a problem. Like I said, the only reason Disney remakes all their movies every 50 years is so they can retain the IP and copyright, because they know that they recently lost, literally Mickey Mouse is no longer part of Disney copyright. So
Steamboat Willie.
So I could make a Steamboat Willie video tomorrow, which people have, by the way. You can look it up on YouTube. There's a bunch of Steamboat Willie videos that aren't under Disney Corporation. That's what they're trying to prevent from happening. And if we took away copyright laws right now, it would negatively affect Disney. You're right. Disney would lose a lot of intellectual property all at once, but still with a lot of other small creators. Like Disney could then just go to small creators who did something original and just start a whole new thing off that and steal that. So it's like,
how long are they able to maintain that empire with as much as losses as they suffer from their operations?
Well, but that's a different question. That's a different question. We're talking about the property. So I have a feeling that we're all going to agree with what Box is saying, but a really quick, guys, you know I love bringing people up here and talking to people, but if there's no super chats and donations, then I just can't afford to have people up here. So make sure we feed Morty. Of course, every donation comes with a treat.
Feed the dog.
Feed the dog.
The dog, not the cat.
If I steal Nike's logo and start making money, how does that hurt Nike? Well, very obviously, every shoe that you sell is one shoe that they don't sell. And so is that the end of the world? Is that going to bankrupt Nike? Of course not. But if the law is that, you can just take other people's property, then it's not about you and Nike. It's about the Studio A and Studio B, or car maker A and car maker B, where they're in close competition. And if they have something, like Zippy said, where they do better, and they don't have anything to protect that betterness, then car company B just does the same thing, and now they're equal again. So even though company A has done better and has more merit, more quality, more whatever, then it's the same. So do we all agree on that part?
Kinda. I mean, I think there's a slight difference when it comes to intellectual property, which is what the Nike logo is, versus counterfeit copyright, which is if you started making shoes with a Nike logo on them, you would then be partaking in counterfeit goods, right, or copyright infringement.
Right. And so you agree that even though that's not
like, not really copyright, more like trademark infringement.
Right. But I'm saying, do we agree that even though that wouldn't bankrupt Nike, that's still wrong because of the principle that that's one less shoe that they're selling?
I mean, yeah, it's still, I would say wrong's a subjective word. I would say it's illegal. Yeah. And I'm fine with it being
illegal for good reason then.
Yeah, but I mean, wrong's subjective. To say it's wrong depends.
What about you, Zippy? Do you agree, or do you think it's no big deal? What Box is asking?
The thing is it the same level of quality or better quality? If it's actually subpar quality,
let's say it's exactly the same.
Well, then you're doing Nike a favor. They don't have to put in the money, the time, or the labor to make the thing.
Yeah, but they had to put in the time and money and effort to develop the thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a favor. Yeah, if anything, you are stealing from Nike because they developed and marketed the shoe, and then you come in and make the shoe and sell it.
You're right.
You didn't have to develop.
Better. Brains.
So let's go back into a different area, but really quick, we gotta give a big shout out to M169 for the $2. Thank you. Holla. Thank you for Morty. Thank you so very, very much, guys. That is 1 out of 15 donations and 2 out of $50. If we hit that goal, not only does Morty get his peanut butter, but these tiny arms get a little bit of workout. $2 for every push-up. Thank you. And of course, that makes you the new sponsor of the stream. Very, very, very much appreciated. All right, yeah. So we are all in agreement on that. Why is it? Fox says, let's go a little deeper then. What if I steal the Nike logo alone and call the brand not Nike and make desks instead of shoes? I know what I think, so I want to see what you guys say.
That would definitely probably pass IP law.
Well, that question's deeper than IP law, I think. I don't.
Why is it deeper than IP?
Well, because we're talking about logos and trademarks more. Mm-hmm. Intellectual property is different than a trademark. But what I will say is, I think, I don't know if that'd be the best move because Nike doesn't. Nike's brand is for apparel and shoes. If you came out with Nike desks, I don't think you'd sell more desks. I mean, maybe
I disagree with you. No, he is right here. But I disagree with you guys because the Box is saying, would that hurt Nike too? And it wouldn't necessarily hurt Nike, but you are stealing from the reputation that Nike has. If you have,
that's not how the whole thing works.
What?
Not Nike is clear. Probably if you add another K, and changed the swooping logo a little bit, it would pass IP. Remember?
Yeah. Okay. So if you, so I mixed that. I mixed that up in my mind. I mixed that up in my mind. I was thinking the desks were Nike. So yeah, not Nike would not hurt Nike, but the so this, if you're taking the swoosh alone, then you are taking the goodwill that has been built from the years of Nike making people happy and attributing that to you. And so does it hurt Nike? Not really. But also, especially if you have shitty desks, well, that's definitely, you get a shitty desk, you put this thing on it and it crushes somebody's dog that's sitting in their lap. Well, yeah, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it could definitely hurt. It could definitely hurt the brand if you were if the desks were associated with Nike and then you put out a bunch of shit desks. Then yeah, on a large scale, the brand would be impacted by the bad PR that would come from the desk. So yeah, I mean but that's why intellectual property is important, is because that's the whole thing of like using someone's name or trademark can be negatively impacted.
Also, I wonder when the Nike copyright runs out, because it can't be another 5 or 10 years.
No, Nike.
Now the trademark is a different thing.
On the panel, and still donating from Zippy, TheIndianJesus said, "Feed the dog, feed the dog. We will." Thank you so very, very much, sir. As you were saying,
I mean, Zippy, I think we can add as many like abstract examples as we want, but the central point you seem to keep bringing up, Zippy, is like you think the corporations are using it to monopolize, and you think the government is helping them. So it's this pseudo-capitalistic sense of like, it's not actual capitalism because it's these large companies, which I agree with. That's the thing. I agree with you. There's definitely a problem with like monopolies and large companies squeezing out the little guy. I think where I disagree is that you think if we got rid of IP, that would stop. And I think it would just make it worse. I've got kind of 3 points left on destroying IP rights, and then we can move on to rev share.
Please.
One of the important things to note about, when you get rid of IP rights, fraud becomes all the more important to, go after. So you can't make claims you made it. You can't make claims that you have ties with the company and other such things.
Like what? What other such things?
Well, you can, make and distribute, but it's on you to, back the crap you make and distribute.
Yeah,
what do you do that?
Then.
Back it, how do you mean?
Well, if you're making crap products, people are going to return them. They're going to leave bad reviews. And you can't exactly...
You mean like my Nike desks?
Well, they're just rebranded Aikas, so.
But that's what we're trying to drill into, Zippy. That's what we're saying, is that you want to get rid of these rights, and unless you haven't really got there, I'm not really understanding what you want to replace the rights with. So let's do it this way: blank slate. There are no laws about anything ever, and we're coming to King Zippy. And first thing is intellectual property. How do we legally deal with intellectual property?
Competition, fair trade.
No, but I mean, lay it out. Not just a general idea. Lay it out. This is the meeting where we're writing down the actual laws so that when it gets to court and something, it's not. See, in Section A, Zippy says this. Obviously, you don't have to have it that well, but give me exactly what you mean.
Well, that's the problem. There is no IP law.
Okay.
There's fraud law. There's there's market competition.
So talk about that. So how does fraud work?
Better contracts with each other. There's
Well, right. Okay. So how would fraud work then? Surrounding a company name or something that now falls under IP rights, but in your world it would be fraud. So what would play that situation out? Give me an example.
Given how hungry lawyers are for blood, if you're not clear about not being the original owner and having any ties to the original owner, you open yourself up to lawsuits not only from consumers but from the original creator too.
Right. So the law is
you can't lie about having ties to the creator of an IP.
Why not? Wait. Why not? If there's no IP rights, then why can't I say, if I make a vape and I call it a Nike vape, why can I not do that?
Well, let's see. Nike is also a Greek goddess, so you can go with that angle.
Yeah. No, you could totally drop Nike vapes tomorrow. And
with the swoosh. We got Nike swoosh capital, and it's Nike branding. Something that we would, okay, so let's say because I really want to get I really want to nail this down. So let's say, based on the current laws, it would be such that if this logo that I'm using, because of the IP rights that do exist, I would be sued for stealing their copyright. But under King Zippy, how would that work out? How would Nike recoup their losses or prevent me from stealing their how would that work?
I missed a step. When someone creates something, they are kind of tied to that idea, and so they get to claim not ownership, but they get to claim official creator status.
No, that's not really it. So there's IP, which is the idea of a concept.
Yes, but the IP has an owner.
Yeah, but when we're talking about
you don't want that.
The creator,
I thought that's what you wanted to get rid of, the idea of owning
in an abstract sense.
Yeah, like if you're saying get rid of ownership, that is anti-capitalistic. If you're saying like the problem,
commie.
Yeah, that is. I mean,
but you really want to own thoughts, the way the corporate and governments work.
Yeah, but if we're talking about the actual logo, though, that's not that's the trademark of Nike.
It's
so then say let's play this hypothetical out. Let's drop the Nike vape. Nike would then sue Lutch in civil court for abusing their trademark for something that does not represent the Nike brand. That is a lawsuit. It's not.
So do you agree? Do you agree that Nike should have the right to do that? And then if we went to the court, then because I'm straight up stealing their logo, that they would win? Is that how you want it to play out, or would you want it to play out differently?
Now,
under King Zippy's world.
No, the two things that I'm looking for is ties to the creator and official endorsement by the creator. Those are the two.
But use the example, Zippy, because we don't know what you mean when you say that. So we're trying to ground it in a real life example.
Nike paid a person to create that logo.
Yes.
So Nike paid the creator.
Yes, just like a musician gets paid for a gig.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying the creator should have the rights. Nike bought those rights. They paid the creator to make the logo. So why? So at that point,
the creator is already paid, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. So it's Nike's trademark.
There we go. Well, now we didn't have to be quiet, but now that we're quiet, thank you so very, very much for Box said. So China does steal our IP, and they're booming. Don't it seem counterintuitive that it is working so well for them when they abandon IP norms?
Go ahead, Butch.
I feel like this is precisely why we do want IP rights. Now, we don't have jurisdiction over China, and I don't understand how creating, like, I think you're saying that that's a problem. China's been stealing our stuff, right? So
no.
if that's a bad thing, then why would we want to foster a bad thing just within the nation?
China does that notoriously because they make all our shit. So if you invent something and then you send your patent to China, they have no laws around this. So then they steal your patent, remake it for half the price, and then you're competing with a third party that you didn't even know existed last month.
Yeah, so I'm back to why is this better?
See, that's
why
the
is this
thing.
better?
They're able to have. I almost hate to say that they have better competition, but in a way,
it's not competition. It's not.
In a way, it's. I mean, it's all government endorsed.
All right, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Zippy. If I have a great idea right now, I have a new invention. I'm about to make it. It's about to be. It's sick. I'm not going to tell you what it is because you can steal it. But I have a great idea. I'm going to invest all my money. I'm going to get it worked on. I'm going to do R&D to make it work. I'm going to get it made. Maybe in China, maybe in India, maybe in America. Depends who I go with. As an investor and an inventor of this said product, I come to market. Then tomorrow, when it comes to market, you see it. And you get to completely steal my idea. Should that be allowed?
Well, again, let's use hold on. Let's use the specific example that N169 is bringing up. She said, "What's to stop me from taking a book I did not write, changing the main characters' names, maybe a location where the story takes place, and claiming it as my own work?" And he said, "As long as it passes the 70% rule, it doesn't." So she's specifically asking. That's not the names and location is not 70% of a story, so it does not pass the 70% rule. So what is you under King Zippy's rules? How do we prevent the writer from?
You have to change around more than that, but AI can make quick work of that.
I'm not talking AI.
That's not what we're asking. That's not what we're asking. She's already stolen the book. Now the author is angry because M169, for one reason or another, is more popular than the original author, even though she spent the entire year writing this book, paying for editors, going through the publishing house, all that stuff. And now M169 just copies it, changes less than the 30% of it, so it does not pass the 70% rule. How does the original author of the book prevent her work from being stolen?
Not even prevent. Do you agree with it? It's not prevent. Do you think that's okay?
Okay, yeah, let's start there. So yeah, that's a better question. Should M169 be able to do that if it does not pass the 70% rule?
As long as it's in publication, then no. You should be protected.
Okay, so we agree. We all agree. You should not be allowed to do this. So then if somebody does do that which is not allowed, then what?
The main problem with a no IP world is the market will have to change and evolve. That'll take 10 or 20 years, and it will suck. Because competition will have to redo everything. But fraud and reputation will have to be...
Zippy, you're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. Stay with me. How does the author of this book do anything to recoup losses or punish M169, or what is the process? This person would then go to the cops, or they would file a lawsuit, or it would be a fraud case. What would they do? Yeah, not changing.
Community getting the word out that they're the original creator.
And what if nobody cares?
Yeah.
Because people like maybe in
that case, no one's buying the book anyway.
No, they're buying the book from M169 because they like M169. Let's say I write the book.
Yes, but M169 is one of thousands and thousands of people hawking the book. So again,
right. So again, if I'm the author of the book, I don't want her to be able to steal my time and labor. I put time and labor into doing better, making a good book, and then she just changed less than 70% and is selling it as her own among other people. Why is that a good thing? I don't understand why you. And if it's not a good thing, then why wouldn't we want the laws to prevent that theft?
It's only a bad thing in the short run until the market changes. That's really all I've got.
Hold on, Zippy. Hold on, Zippy.
If I'm trying to make money on my book and I publish it yesterday, I need money ASAP. So every book that gets sold is money in my pocket. I need that money. But again, M169 just changes less than 70 or less than the 30%. Has 85, 90% of my work. She puts it out. Again, she has a bigger platform than me, so she can sell everybody who wants it that I would have access to. She has better access to, so she gets to get all the benefits. Meanwhile, I have nothing. So, do I have a way to say, hey, that's my book. I wrote that. All the money that you got is my money, or am I just shit out of luck? Shout out to do that.
Probably shit out of luck the way I've got it theorized right now.
Okay, so then what would I be able to do? My book is stolen. What do I do?
As the market changes, I know. Just let me finish.
I'll let you finish. Let me speak.
Just let me. As the market changes, you have better networking of creators who are able to deal with fraud claims and, protect reputation. I know. It's a mess.
No,
I'm only halfway down the rabbit hole.
All right, so
wait. I just want to make sure. I understand what's being said. So it sounded like you said that I had to work on getting a better platform so that she doesn't have a better platform, and so she can't steal my work. Is that what you were saying?
Kind of. I think that.
That's ridiculous. CT.
Well,
thank you. All right. So one thing you keep saying, Zippy, is fraud. Nothing we've talked about in this is fraud. There's fraud is a very clear-cut definition. It's knowingly stealing or conflating interest to benefit yourself, like while you know it's illegal. So if I may, that's why fraud is so hard to prove, is because it has to be a knowingly concept. So what we're describing is not like fraud. It's just it comes down to he said, she said, or who said it first.
I have to work on the legal theory on the no IP
fraud. Right, but even doesn't really fit here. But even let me kind of pivot for 1 second. I can give a clear example of where this happens and where we might need to reform some of our IP laws. Very, very clearly. Amazon. Amazon is the largest distributor of online goods in America and maybe the world. I'm not sure the numbers on like the whole world, but definitely in America, Amazon sells the most shit. Amazon dropped their brand called Amazon Basics. And what happens is Amazon has all of the data of what people sell online. And so what Amazon looks at is they look at what's selling the most. And if you're a small seller and you're selling t-shirts that are like pink, and the Amazon notices that pink t-shirts are selling the most, Amazon Basics will release pink t-shirts and completely take your idea, and then they will shun your channel to then be behind the sales, and they'll push the Amazon Basics t-shirts to the front. And then all of a sudden, as a small business that sells t-shirts, you get put out of business. That is a way that a large company can abuse their own algorithms and data to put small businesses out of business. That's where I think, if anything, in that sector of goods, we need maybe more IP regulations to prevent Amazon from doing something like this. If you're telling me,
not necessarily more specific.
Let me just finish the thought. If you're telling me that we get rid of all IP laws, what's to prevent Amazon from copying everyone's sales ideas?
Cost of overhead. Can they really afford? I know.
Are you about to say, can Amazon afford to do that? Yes.
Right now they can, but when everybody else can do it, how can they maintain their monopoly?
What utopia are you talking about? You keep saying 10 to 20 years.
So when you say when everyone can, what does that mean? When everyone can do what? Specifically?
Everyone can get on everyone can basically compete on the same level
No, they can't.
Well, hold on.
Potentially.
No, because to compete, it takes money. Because this small business owner has invested tens of thousands of dollars to create their small business. You're saying I tomorrow can go start a company that competes with Amazon? No, I absolutely cannot.
Yes, but where is Amazon's funding coming from? It's not necessarily coming.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant? Because either way, it doesn't matter where they're
because they cannot maintain market momentum.
They absolutely can't.
They already have it. You're not going to snap your
they are a
fingers
loss
and
leader,
everybody's
though.
on
That's
equal.
the thing. They are a loss leader.
You think Amazon is a loss
They can afford. They are, but they can afford to do that. I can't afford to be a loss leader. I can't afford to lose shit. That's exactly the point.
Yeah, and as they bleed out, they will be replaced by small business.
Why would they bleed out? Why would they bleed out? Why would they bleed out?
Hold on. Do you honestly think Amazon is going to be replaced by small businesses? Because
they can't maintain their monopoly.
Okay, so you're saying they're going to bleed out. Why are they going to bleed out?
Competition.
From who?
The market.
Which market? You're saying a small
Everyone's
business.
selling stuff.
Okay, but as CT just explained, because people are going to Amazon to buy it, even if it is a small business, they're throttled, and Amazon stuff is going to be at the top of the list. Yeah. So again, the question is, what is by what reason would small businesses be able to have a better showing than Amazon on their own platform? Yeah, not everyone can compete at equal levels because we're all different.
Competition will eventually, but that's again that's
why
that's the problem.
That's what I'm asking you. You're proposing that it will. You're proposing that it will change, and I'm asking you by what market mechanisms. Why would it change? What would change?
Because the monopolies cannot afford their existence. They can only afford their existence because they have the IP rights and the funding and the investors to be able to maintain it.
Rights. Amazon has 0 IP rights. The only reason I brought this example up is because this is a real life scenario. This is not a hypothetical. This is happening to small businesses all over the country. If you come to Amazon, you're selling bags, like a backpack, and you have a good selling product, in 6 months, Amazon will have your backpack knocked off, and they will be selling it on Amazon.
The only way for small businesses to compete with that would be to be able to do that to Amazon, to take Amazon original products and then flip them for cheaper than Amazon on Amazon. So maybe I don't know shit about Jack. Maybe that will happen. But what I'm asking you is, how do we get to the place where Amazon is stealing from the little guys and putting their stuff on the front page, to where they can't sustain this and small businesses take over? Walk me through that. That's what I'm asking about. I'm not even saying you're wrong. I'm just trying to understand what it is that you're proposing.
Well, that's the crux of the problem. It will take time for the.
We got time, baby. We got time. And we don't have to. I mean, it's not something that we have to solve today.
No, I understand. I'm just bad with words.
No, Zippy, you're fine. I'm not trying to like.
No. You guys are making a good point. You're making good points, but I'm looking more at the macro level and not the micro level. Micro level is where the small businesses are.
No, I think there is pushes on local city levels to support small business. That's in every city I've lived in. That's big
kind of
push. But you're saying that it's only a matter of time. I'm more like doomsday-ish and like I don't. I don't believe small businesses will win this fight. That's my own belief. I think it's only a matter of time before we're all crushed by Bezos. But the reason why I think it's important to have IP laws is for that reason. Is because if we repeal all IP and copyright trademark laws, there's nothing to stop companies like Amazon to just crush everyone. The only chance someone has is the ability to take Amazon to claims court. And I mean, they might, honestly, if you sued Amazon, you had a good case, you'd probably just settle. They probably wouldn't go to trial.
Yeah.
But so then, Zippy, are you saying that it's because of the fact that the IP rights exist that allowed Amazon to get so far ahead in the first place?
Yes.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, the way funding and investment works, they kind of have the market rigged, really. and they'll go after, and they'll fund the monopolies that are able to artificially inflate themselves to the point where the investors will go to them to fund them. It's kind of like a nasty, negative feedback loop.
Mm-hmm. So I agree with you there.
And then when the company fails and people lose the stock value, well, the executives just go on to another business to destroy it. What I'm saying,
but I mean, they're not going to move on to a small business, and so I can agree with you.
That's the thing about competition. That's the thing about competition. Eventually, the good businesses that treat people better will start to be able to show, in stocks and investment, a better rate of return than the big organized, too big to fail monopolies. But again, it's a time issue. And there's also a social contract issue where people need to protect, creator reputation.
Let's see.
But again, it's messy.
And really, keep saying it's going to take time. I applaud your optimism, and I get the philosophy of saying that people want to support small businesses, but from what I've learned,
well, it's not just small businesses, but the small businesses start, upping their game, and then they start, joining together into conglomerate, and it'll eventually, the equilibrium.
Hold on. You just converted from small businesses to conglomerates. That's a completely separate philosophy.
Yeah, my argument was going to be that it's the same principle. So if you're saying, oh, it's more on the macro level, I don't understand why it would be different on the micro level.
Let me just finish my point. What I was starting to say is, I implore you to say that, like, it might be a good thing to people to support small businesses, which it is. But what I've gathered in my time in business and this world is that the price is the bottom line. And I understand it's good to pay. You might want to buy from the small business, but that small business, it's going to cost $20 more. So Amazon can, and there's going to be a percentage of people that will pay that $20 more to support the small business. But most people don't. Most people want to get the goods they can afford at the cheapest possible price. And that's what Amazon provides, is they say, hey, we can undercut your price by $10. So instead of you paying $50 for that backpack, it's $40, and we'll send it to you.
I understand. My rabbit hole needs more concrete.
So,
but again, it's just a weird theory.
No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's a theory. I mean, I think what you're saying is,
you definitely have some strong points. You definitely have some strong points. It's just a matter of figuring out.
I think rev sharing could work better, but again, that involves government and corporations. But
let me bring in what Equality is saying. This may help us with the conversation, but it might be slightly different. Asking, didn't Amazon try food delivery and fail to outcompete Grubhub?
You can still order Whole Foods groceries, and they'll deliver in 2 hours.
Right, but I'm maybe I'm wrong, but this sounds like it's going back to what Zippy was saying of just do better. Is there a connection there?
There's definitely, like, market competition is market competition. So do I think Amazon Logistics can compete with DoorDash or Grubhub? Maybe not yet, but that's what Bezos is working for. That's the thing. He went from 1 week shipping to 2 day shipping to 1 day shipping to 2 hour shipping. Yeah, as the logistics network grows, that's what it builds onto. And
and exactly what M69 is saying here. That I would love to have the options that Amazon offers in brick and mortar stores, but it's just not possible anymore. Yeah. I love bookstores, but it costs me more to find one within a reasonable distance. And the issue that I see is that even though I agree with you that they they benefited from the IP rights to get so far ahead, the thing is they're already so far ahead. And so I don't understand how getting rid of the IP rights doesn't make their advantage even more.
Oh, I really do feel that without IP rights, they would not be able to monopolize so strongly, and thus they'll basically bleed out over time.
Are you saying Amazon or like large companies in general?
The large companies, because they have so much waste. they have so much waste and just internal corruption that
there's actually a new documentary about that. It's wild how much waste comes from Amazon.
I mean, I think you're right in the sense that there is waste and corruption, but I also think you're understating the ability to have a large, like you're talking about micro versus macro. That's what this is. It's macro distribution systems versus micro distribution, and kind of like what M169 was saying is that, like, as much as it sucks, and we can all say like Jeff Bezos is like ruining America.
This episode,
he's figured out how to ship me almost any product I need in less than 2 days.
Yep. So let's try this.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, please.
Oh, if I could.
Yeah, go for it.
Brain fart. Crud. Oh well.
You got it. We were talking about Bezos and companies and.
Yeah, and that's like So while you're thinking about that, Zippy, there's a new documentary on Netflix about like just how much waste there is specifically with. I mean, it's not really about that, but it heavily focuses on that. And the reason that there's so much waste is because it's cheaper for them to just throw shit away than like mainly with returns. It's cheaper for them to just give you your money back and let you throw the thing away than to worry about the shipping costs and the logistics of that.
I heard about go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. No, you're not okay.
I heard about the
I remembered what I was thinking.
The different scandals that Amazon's had with their return policy. So they used to have a 12-month return policy on clothes. So people would just order all their clothes for like the year, and then they would return it right before the 12 months was over. And then another guy, he got caught stealing millions of dollars of shit because he learned that Amazon's return policy, they would just weigh the box. So he would buy stuff, take it out of the box, refill it with sand and rocks, and then let them. So as long as the box weighed the same, is when they shipped it out.
Zippy, you said you remember where you were gonna go?
Yeah. Without IP, can they really maintain stock and company value to investors?
Why do you ask?
I feel that competition will make better solutions for the market, and that the return of investment would be better for the competition than it would be for the monopolies. But again, this is something that will have to play out over 2 decades, and it's logical but not ideal.
Well, no, Zippy,
I would probably not be horrible, but we have to shift from where we are now to that, and it's that is as nightmarish as what we have now, really.
Zippy, I'll be the first to say I want actual free market capitalism, and what you're describing is to have an actual free market base. We're not there yet right now. That's not going to happen. And you keep saying it's going to take 10. I think that'll never come back.
I agree.
I don't think IP rights will have any significant change.
Well, and what I want to say too is I agree with you there too. The only reason I brought up the Amazon and the IP right discussion is because of Amazon Basics. Because the way Amazon Basics operates,
there are so many knockoffs. Many knockoffs.
That's my point. Is that that's why I brought
half of them are legal.
Right, but Zippy, I think that we are agreeing that IP rights are the cause of knockoffs. But what I'm saying, at least I'll speak for myself, is that if we had never had IP rights, then I agree that Amazon couldn't have used those, Walmart, whoever, to use those rights to get ahead. But because of the fact that they exist and now they are already ahead, to abolish those laws, I feel like we would need some type of middle period where we have policy that rolls that back.
That's another rabbit hole to go down.
So let's
sharing whenever you want.
Yeah. So let's go down this road. We're specifically watching a video about just what IP rights are, but this is a video from Second Thought, specifically about why we should get rid of intellectual property. So let's see. Hold on. Let's see what they're saying, and maybe they'll articulate it in the way that you like, or maybe it's close, and you can correct it. Didn't get a chance, but shout out to Mela too, Mela the second. Welcome to the party. We are talking about abolishing IP rights.
And others like it are made possible by the generous support of my patrons on Patreon. If you'd like to help support this channel and get early access to every video, plus our patrons-only Discord server,
become a member now.
Consider becoming a patron by following the link below. There's no reason for intellectual property to exist. This week, we're looking at how and why we should abolish this idea to replace it with something better. First things first, let's talk about insulin. Insulin is a life-saving drug. It can be the difference between a pretty normal, long life and the constant risk of ketoacidosis, diabetic coma, and premature death for millions of people around the world.
But Joe Rogan said keto was a good thing.
And yet, despite only costing $10 to produce a vial's worth, about 1 in 5 Americans with diabetes can't afford treatment and need to ration their insulin. That's because insulin is way too expensive. In the US, it's estimated that insulin prices jump between 15 and 17% every single year. Today, a 10 ml vial costs around $300, when it used to be just $20 back in 1996. In this country, monthly insulin costs regularly exceed $1,000 for those without insurance. So many diabetics in the US have had to resort to incredibly dangerous strategies to get to the end of the month, like not eating.
So we got some interesting questions here. Let's do that before we get too deep into that. M169 said Walmart has expanded their online options over what you can buy in their stores. What IP rights? What do IP rights have to do with that?
Funding and investment. One thing feeds another. I mean, that's
such a simplest
way.
Yeah,
what does that mean? Funding meaning what? Investing meaning what? What's feeding what? To do what? You understand what you mean. We don't know. We know those are just words to me.
The executive market funds and invests into Walmart expansion, so Walmart is able to expand at a greater pace.
Okay, so investors are,
and so they also invest in IP rights, into IP right owners and the monopolies, and they get money from that, and they're able to fund more monopolies to expand, operations.
But what do you mean by that? They're able to fund more monopolies to expand operate. Are you saying that why? Like, are you saying they're buying companies?
Not
real quick. MC and Nemesis, if you could just flash your camera on backstage, if you can. Again, if you guys want to join the panel, I do ask that you use the same name that you have on YouTube.
Honestly, on that note, y'all come up. Go on the chat. I see you chatting. M169, pop in. We do this in Discord.
Somebody needs brains.
Hello.
Welcome, MC Nemesis on Amazon Music.
Oh yeah. What's up, bro?
What you got for us, buddy?
Is that Matt Walsh, CT223?
Oh yeah.
It looks like a little bit.
As Alex Stein would say, I'm Matt Walsh. I'm Matt Walsh's biological stepson.
Shout out to Aaron Woodward. Excited to hear from MC Nemesis.
All right.
Sorry, I just thought that was strange. I think I've been here one time before. Wasn't sure. Are you guys theist or atheist?
Both.
That's not really what we're talking about. You got stuff on IP rights or nah?
Oh, IP rights. Yes, I think no. Elon. I agree with Elon about that.
What does
we
Elon
should
say
abolish them.
Okay,
Elon
so you were.
Hold on. Elon definitely does not want to abolish IP rights. Elon has made hundreds of billions of dollars off of IP rights.
And I think he could make hundreds of billions more banning them in the short term. I don't know about how the market will be in 10, 15 years. But then again, AI is going to completely change the logistics of business in the next, 20 or so years. So wild times.
Okay. Give us your idea on why it is that we should get rid of the IP rights.
Me or him?
MC.
You got him muted.
Yes, Elon Musk has stated that we should abolish the IP rights, and I'm inclined to agree with him, because what it really is intellectual property, anything that can be imagined. I mean, what is that? Why do you have, like, if I want to take a Pikachu and then make my own version of Pikachu, why should that be protected?
Can I
Because
still man this? Can I still man this?
I have a good answer to that, MC. Why do you call it Pikachu?
There you go.
No, I didn't say use the name. We're talking about
well, the idea of an electric rat.
You said there's a Pikachu, and you're gonna make a better version.
We're come back to this, Mello.
Why do you call it Pikachu?
Because that's his name.
Exactly. That's an idea that somebody took time to think of, and spent money designing.
So who owns words?
Why not call it? Well then, MC. Why not call it Lightning Mouse? Why do you call it Pikachu, not Lightning Mouse? Because Pikachu represents a multi-billion-dollar trading card company.
It's a name that somebody made up.
Yeah, that's worth billions of dollars.
Yeah. If
The
you
name
haven't, so
Pikachu
okay.
is? No.
So what if
Pikachu's
I
not
make
worth
$1 million
anything.
being MC Nemesis?
It's not worth anything.
I'll make it worth something. That's my point.
Oh, you guys don't understand how the market works.
Tell me how the market works.
So
that's what I'm asking you.
Oh God.
So
I now understand how you guys suffer.
So, you know, there's a company called Nintendo. If you're not Nintendo,
well played.
You're not going to make any money off Pikachu because you're not. Are you spending millions of dollars on ad campaigns?
That's why it's important to name it Pikachu, right? Because it's already marketed.
You think that if I sold something and called it Pikachu, even if it was a Pikachu doll, that I would have the same impact as Nintendo?
No,
you'd have more.
That's besides the point.
Every
Pikachu that you sell, or every Lightning Mouse that you sell, is one Lightning Mouse or Pikachu that Nintendo or whoever doesn't sell.
That's
quite the opposite. I'm actually spreading awareness with my Pikachu, so it's actually increasing both of our sales.
That's
not a zero-sum game. Why do you think that selling merchandise is a zero-sum game?
I didn't say it was. I didn't say it was at all.
That's what you're acting like.
No, I'm saying that each individual Pikachu that you sell is an individual Pikachu that the brand isn't selling. So I didn't get an answer. I didn't get an answer to my question. Why was it so silly? Why was it so silly for me to say that? What if I get rich off of being?
Look, I reject the premise. You're describing a zero-sum game.
Hold on, dude. Are you serious right now, MC?
Dude, listen. You're saying that if I sell a Pikachu doll, Nintendo won't sell one. Why
do you keep calling it Pikachu?
Right, because if I want a Pikachu and I get it from you, why the fuck would I buy another one? I already have the Pikachu.
Why would I buy a Pikachu doll? I'm a collector. The people who buy Pikachu dolls collect them.
Okay, and so each Pikachu that they're collecting, that they're collecting is more money that's going to the owner of the Pikachu. If you take that money instead, is it going to bankrupt the company like we were talking about with Nike before? No, but that is money that you are stealing from them. You can't talk over me, bro. You can't talk over. We got to one at a time. One at a time, bro. We got to do one at a time. Nobody can hear when we're talking over each other. I don't like muting people. Please, let's be adults here. Go ahead.
Okay. What you are describing is a zero-sum game. You're saying that we both sell Pikachu dolls.
Mm-hmm.
And that if I sell a Pikachu doll, then you will not make the money. You're describing a zero-sum game. And then you're saying, no, I'm not.
Why? Can I explain to you how it's not a zero-sum game?
Selling merch is not a zero-sum game.
Can I explain to you how it's not a zero-sum game?
Okay.
So again, just because I want one Pikachu, I want one Pikachu. I could get it from the actual who the fuck owns them? What's the company?
Bandai.
Okay, so but I could go to Bandai and get a Pikachu.
I'm really not sure. I think it's Bandai. I'm not positive.
Whoever. The Pikachu company. I go to the Pikachu company and get an official Pikachu.
Company. It's now not Nintendo. It's Niantic.
Whatever. I don't care. That's besides the point. So I go to them and get a Pikachu. Now, I'm not giving you any money because I already have my Pikachu. That does not mean that nobody else wants Pikachus. That just means I don't want the Pikachu. And so because I only want one Pikachu, if I buy that Pikachu from you, then I'm not giving money to whatever company it is. So again, that brings me back to my original question. Why is it such a silly question for me to ask you, what if I got famous on the name MC Nemesis?
Once again, in order for you're describing that, you say this, and I'm just trying to be like as clear and concise as I can be. If I sell a Pikachu doll, it does not affect Nintendo sales.
How?
Right.
How?
No.
How would me, as a single individual...
Because they're not getting the money from the Pikachu. They're giving you the money. How is that not taking money from the company?
This is the
You're
whole
saying
point
that
of
I'm
IP.
taking money away from them.
Yes.
No,
you are.
This is
in the same way.
They're just not gaining.
So would I not? So
profit.
okay. So I'm not. So again, if I was MC Nemesis on Amazon Music and I got famous off of the songs that you have on Amazon right now, that would be totally fine because it doesn't hurt you at all, right?
Intellectual property? No, it wouldn't hurt me at all.
It
You're
wouldn't hurt you.
unaware of
Okay,
how
then I guess-
marketing works.
Can I?
Did you know that the
This is-
more people that listen to my music, the better? And the same goes with merchandise. It's called awareness.
All right,
And
but
the
see,
reason Nintendo is selling is because of the level of awareness they have. What's called fans. You do not have fans.
But then they're
hold
fans
on,
of
hold on,
me,
hold
dude.
on.
Then they're fans of me, not you. I'm
They're
MC
fans
Nemesis,
of
not
Nintendo.
you.
The one who created Pikachu, they're a fan of.
Exactly. Hold on. This circles back the original question I asked, and why it's so important is intellectual property represents brand awareness. Why is your example of the reason why we shouldn't have intellectual property is Pikachu? That is a brand aware product. The name Pikachu is worth millions of dollars. If just the name, just the branding of Pikachu. Everyone who's ever played Pokemon knows Pikachu. People who probably never have played Pokemon know Pikachu. That's why intellectual property matters, and that's why Nintendo will sue anyone into the dirt who tries to copy their infringement, is because the name Pikachu matters. So when you come on here and you say what, so you come on and you say what if I sold Pikachus? You are making your own point into the dirt. It's the dumbest point you could have made. Is because the name Pikachu is the brand. That's what the intellectual property is protected by.
For at least another 15 years.
Oh,
You can't just say that. Like, I understand what you mean. What are we talking? That's the whole thing. But let's go to MC first, and then we'll go back to Zippy.
So if I buy Pikachu dolls, I'm not. If I sell them on eBay, Nintendo can't sue me.
For sale,
no, that's not the point. There's a whole second.
They've already made their.
So how are they going to? How are they going to determine who made the Pikachu doll?
No, that's not the point. You're missing the point. I'm not talking about secondhand markets or dealers. That's a whole market right now is trading cards. And that's always been the market. That's the point. But if you come out and you start saying you created the Pikachu doll, and that this is your doll, this is your idea, this is your card that you're trying to sell, you will get sued into the dirt. They will take your house. They will take your car. They will take every ounce, depending on how much money you made off it. Maybe you're good at marketing, which that's a whole other conversation. But the brand Pikachu of Pokemon is what is worth. Your worth is nothing. If you're some dealer selling Pikachu dolls, you are worth nothing to Nintendo. You are just selling their own product for them.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. If I started selling Pikachu, I would be manufacturing and selling dolls on their behalf.
Yeah.
In no way, shape, or form with this damage.
You can't manufacture them. That's what I'm saying. You can buy them. You can buy them and sell them at a higher cost, but you can't manufacture them. If you manufacture them, then you're infringing on their IP.
Right. That's what M69 is saying here, that a resale is different than theft of an idea. In this case, a branded doll and selling it as your own.
Yeah, that's me and M169 are like right there right now. You can't start a factory. Well, you probably could in China because they knock off everything. But you can't start a factory and just start making Pikachu dolls and selling them as your own. I mean, maybe you could try to rename it to like Lightning Mouse to make a knockoff. But that's what we were saying with Amazon Basics. That's the same argument. That's the Amazon Basics argument of saying you're selling knockoff Pikachus. Do you see the point? It's.
You're muted if you're talking, MC.
Am I crazy here?
No, I mean, I agree.
Well,
I think
making a decent point.
It's definitely a 2v2 here. I think we're even now. Let's see. Did we miss anything from Equality and Deference over on Rumble? I think the Nemesis is failing to articulate his point. What's wrong with copying other people's stuff and giving it a different name? I think that might have been from a while ago.
I mean, if anything, with all this, I feel like we need more. If this really is the philosophy that most people have, that you can just do this shit, we need more IP regulation. And
not necessarily more, but more specific, more clear.
Fair. That's
I'm
fair.
with that.
That might be a fair point. Yeah. I mean, yeah, more specific. And because like I said, it is a problem. Amazon Basics knocks off everything. If you sell a suitcase right now that is popular, in 6 months, Amazon will have your suitcase knocked off, and they'll be selling it in their factories, and they'll put their listing above yours, and your sales will tank. It's happened. This is real life scenarios that happen. If a company comes out tomorrow and starts selling fire dragons that look like Charizard, they will get sued into oblivion.
And I believe rightfully so. So let's yeah, right.
Parody clones. You can make a legal clone, but you have
yeah. I mean, in my opinion, that's what
you
Digimon.
definitely have to.
Remember Digimon? Digimon was knockoff Pokemon.
What you're saying is
but that was a 70% rule.
You're saying that because of the conclusion, because you will get sued, that it's
something else.
a good thing that we are not allowed to do this.
No, I'm saying it's their property. I'm saying it's.
What I'm saying is it's not really their property.
It's their idea. The creator of Pokemon has put 25
okay, but the Bible is sold. Religious texts are sold, and it wasn't the original author's idea. So you are allowed to sell ideas.
That's a whole other conversation. We can get
right,
into
but
that.
hold on. Exactly. You can only sell something if you own it. If you don't have the rights to something, how can you sell it?
You can sell a collection of public domain stuff.
You can sell anything, Lesh. I would agree. You can resell anything. That's what all the Pokemon hype is right now. You're reselling. There's resellers. It's different when you start to say this is mine, and that's
what I'm talking about.
It's claiming ownership. Yeah, it's claiming ownership over an idea. There's a lot of people that make a lot of money right now selling Pokemon cards, selling Pikachu. If that reseller came out tomorrow and said, I'm printing my own Pokemon cards, and he called some print factory in China to make knockoff Pikachus, they're done. That's
why don't we dive back into the video where they had the idea of why we should abolish the rights, and maybe that will clear things up, or at least give us somewhere else to go. We should start over.
This episode and others early we should abolish this idea to replace it with something better. First things first, let's talk about insulin. Insulin is a life-saving drug. It can be the difference between a pretty normal, long life and the constant risk of ketoacidosis, diabetic coma, and premature death for millions of people around the world. And yet, despite only costing $10 to produce a vial's worth, about 1 in 5 Americans with diabetes can't afford treatment and need to ration their insulin. That's because insulin is way too expensive. In the US, it's estimated that insulin prices jump between 15 and 17% every single year. Today, a 10 ml vial costs around $300, when it used to be just $20 back in 1996. In this country, monthly insulin costs regularly exceed $1,000 for those without insurance. So many diabetics in the US have had to resort to incredibly dangerous strategies to get to the end of the month, like not eating, not testing their blood sugar level, or simply not giving their body the amount of insulin it needs.
Not good.
At the core of this problem, and many, many others, is the concept of intellectual property. Currently, different patents to produce insulin are held by 3 companies in the US: Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Sanofi. Together, they control about 90% of the insulin market. And through the yearly tradition of patenting minuscule changes to their process and formula, they've made sure that no generic version of the drug can be manufactured by anybody else. Thanks to intellectual property laws, just 3 companies have a fully legal cartel, an oligopoly. And all of this...
Can I say something real quick?
Yep.
So on this point,
Yep.
So I personally take insulin. If I eat right and I don't eat a bunch of sugar and shit, I can regulate it myself. But sometimes I have to take it. He's absolutely right, but this is not representative of a free market system. This is a crony capitalist system of corruption within the pharmaceutical industry. So to say that because they don't trust insulin companies or like pharmaceutical companies, it's not a fair argument against IP laws. I agree. This is completely wrong. The way they handle specifically drugs, because drugs, there's like 5 companies that make all the drugs in America. And
is my mic on? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, you're good.
So
we got
Bob.
If I may,
using this as an argument is not fair.
If I may, the problem with drug prices basically comes down to the insurance monopolies and free government money.
Yeah,
that spikes the prices like crazy because government is paying for half of it.
Yeah, no, Zippy, I can get that's kind of why I want to jump in, because to me we can let the video right out, but like I feel like it's a good this is
where my rev share kind of fixes most of the problem. This is where my rev share theory fixes most of the problems with stuff like that.
All right.
Yeah,
tell me about that.
All right. So this is rev share theory is something that I've kind of like conceptualized like 20 years ago, and it's a rabbit hole I went down. I've only gone down the no IP rabbit hole because of the DMCA nonsense. Basically got fed up with how government isn't doing its freaking job. But that's a side tangent. That's a side tangent. Revenue sharing is basically where the distribution of stuff, you pay 20% of your revenue intake equally to the IPs you trade.
That seems wild to me.
Yeah, I mean that's
Box. So let's welcome Box. Welcome.
Well, it's all based on consumption and consumerism.
Shut the fuck up. You interrupted my DJ horn.
My bad.
Welcome, Box, to the party. What do you got for us, brother? What are you thinking?
Copying is not theft. When you steal, you have one less left. Copying it makes more. That's what copies are for. If I steal your bicycle, you'll have to take the bus. But if I just copy it, there's one for each of us. Because copying is not theft. When you steal, you have one less left.
Is that a poem you just wrote?
It's not a fucking poem. No, that's stuck in my head. I literally recited that out of my head.
Okay,
that's a great example.
Just because it rhymed. But like you could clearly see that there is no, when we are talking about bicycles, then there's no such thing as a copy of a bicycle. You have to produce a different bicycle.
Yeah, that's the way you do it with bits and bytes on a computer too.
Let's start at the top, Box. So you said copying is not theft. Yeah. What would you define as counterfeiting dollar bills?
Oh man, that's actually okay. Yeah, you jumped right off the deep end there. I don't actually have a good answer for that.
You don't? You just said copying isn't theft. If I just
go to the library and copy dollar
bills, the whole thing
got
immediately.
If I may,
Dilly to IP rights.
There's a difference here. I think there's a difference in that we all
let's go to the
money.
We
make the money as a collective, and
all right.
businesses.
So let's go to the second line of the poem. What was the second line of the poem you just read?
When you steal, you have one less left.
Okay, so
and it's not a poem. It's actually it's an old YouTube video.
Okay, we called it. No, you weren't just fucking just.
Right. So let's talk about stealing. When you steal, you have one less left. What if I steal? What if you order pizza and I steal it off your porch?
And copy it. You'll make more.
But so that takes time and labor. Who's paying for that time and labor?
That whole ditty is basically in relation to like IP theft in like a digital sense. Like we used to go steal video games. Some people still do steal video games. You might go like pirate a song or whatever, and that's all technically theft. But like at the end of the day, I asked the question, what harm does it do?
Okay, so let's talk about songs. Let's talk about music. So you're stealing a song off Pirate Bay. What band?
Man, Pirate Bay, you know. This guy knows.
Is it like a big band like a Metallica or fucking
I actually got copyright,
or is it some indie band? Like who are we stealing this song from?
So abolishing the IP laws encourages creativity and innovation.
It absolutely doesn't, Zippy. We already covered this.
Yeah.
It absolutely doesn't.
Because without the IP restrictions, anyone could create derivatives of characters like Pikachu, potentially leading to a wider variety of fan-made content, art, and merchandise.
Do you just ask
in a creative sense, it's not necessarily bad to be
It can reduce barriers for small businesses.
All right, so
but those barriers are, while there may be too many barriers, those barriers in principle are not wrong.
Especially for small creators who can't afford licensing fees.
Licensing fees. Where do you think licensing fees come from?
The big companies that control the license.
Okay, so you think it's important to have a license?
I'm saying that small creators can't afford licensing fees.
Yeah, but like, why do we have licenses?
So you're saying creativity and innovation only belongs to the big companies?
No. I'm saying
no.
I think it does.
Well, it's just a matter of money, you see.
Oh, you're calling me a thief now? You're calling me a thief? That's strong word.
I'm trying to explain to you that if I'm a big company, I can just buy the license and, like this dude said, copy it, use it.
Hey,
but if I can't afford the money, then I'm just SOL'd and sued, huh?
Yeah, let me ask this. Where do you think the big companies...
So it's just about the money.
Hold on. Where do you think the big companies started as?
So the only thing this does is screw small content creators.
Okay, cool.
But that wasn't the question.
Cool. Hold on. Let me ask the question again. Where do you think the big companies started as?
They got loans.
No. They started
small.
They started small.
They started as a small company.
The job I work for got their own patents before they went into
are you
business,
aware that?
So
are you aware that bigger corporations will? No, definitely not. Bigger corporations will create other companies all the time and give them money.
Hold on. Let me just keep going. Let me just keep going. So you think the big companies started as big companies?
Are you aware that there's only about 6 major media companies?
Yeah. Do you know how they became 6 major media companies?
They all copied each other's format, basically, and didn't impinge on each other's copyright for copying the format.
So these people just give each other money and they agree not to sue each other. But because I didn't have any money to give, so it's just a rich man's game, huh?
No,
you're protecting the big corporation.
And that's why I agree that if we never had IP rights in the first place, that would be great. But we did, and we do. So acting as if we don't is not really an option. Really quick, guys, we got 2 big shout-outs. We got to shout out our boy T, the Viewerski, for the $10. Gave him that treat already. And, of course, another panelist donation from Zippy. Feed the doggo. Indeed, we will. Guys, thank you so very, very, very much. That is 1/3 of the way to the goal, guys. 1/3 of the way. Let's get Morty that peanut butter. Thank you so very, very much, gentlemen.
Have I been getting better at Discord conversations?
Yeah.
So we're talking about companies. There's these big companies. You're right. There's like in mainstream media, there's like 6 of them. Maybe 7 if you included the kind of fringe, but mostly, yeah, it's like ABC, NBC, CBS. There's not a handful. Do you think we need? Do you think if we took away the IP, they would remain to be 6, or do you think it would just go to 1?
We have IP laws, but if you have enough money, they magically go away.
All right, cool. So let's talk about big companies to small companies. Do you think that these big companies that you say are that?
Yeah, it's a crime to be. If you don't have $1 billion, it's a crime. I agree.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. That's what I said to begin with too.
You're putting words in my mouth. Right. That's not the point. That's not the point. I'm saying business works in Dude, Zippy started this conversation talking about free market.
And you asked me how Tony Khan created AEW. His dad gave him $50 million. That's usually what happens. Most rich people.
Yeah,
you know the number one way.
So there's no such thing as a small business that started out as a small business and didn't get known and became.
You know what the number way people become rich is? They have a rich dad. That's how most people become rich.
See,
that's not even close to
that's not true at all.
That's not true at all. No, but
we're
missing the point here. We're missing the point.
You know when someone becomes rich, MC? Because I see your angle. There's one way where you can just start buying companies and maybe, but there's a lot of trust fund kids that lost all their money because they made bad decisions. You know the true way that someone. You know the true way that someone starts a $1 billion company is by having a good idea and working hard as fuck, and also kind of probably being a sociopath because you really don't get to $1 billion without being crazy. But
fair.
But
so let's try what Mella's bringing up, a slightly different thing here. And again, because we're trying to kind of nail this down, if we attack it from different angles, hopefully it'll give us a better understanding. So Mella said, should I have purchased a property without any understanding of what is to experience being a landlord? What modules? Yeah, I don't think that's very relevant. So anyway, moving on.
If I may, there's companies that have bought gun and car companies who have no clue of what they're doing and kind of finish off the brand. But that's an aside.
No, that's a fair point. That happens all the time. Like companies, someone gets in over their head, they buy a company they don't fully understand, and they run it to the ground. It happens all the time. And then they file bankruptcy, and that goes on loan, and then another small business was taken to the dirt. But what you're saying is that large companies are the problem, that small companies don't exist. What I'm saying is the large companies we have now started as small companies. Dr. Pepper, look at Dr. Pepper. It just recently passed Pepsi and the second most sold soda in America, or probably the world. I'm not sure the exact numbers. Dr. Pepper was started by a guy that made a soda. He made a soda. That's all he did. It's 23 flavors. It was good. It was popular. And for the last 70 years, Coke and Pepsi have dominated the 1 and 2 spot, going back and forth. Just recently, Dr. Pepper became the number 2 sold soda in America. Was that not a small business? And now you could say, yeah, Dr. Pepper's corrupt. Dr. Pepper's terrible. Whatever the fuck you want to say.
Well, N69 is bringing up Cracker Barrel.
Yeah. I mean, it's companies that you say are like wrong because they're big because they're right.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'm not saying that
we're missing the whole point. This is an economics class here when we're talking about like people stealing.
We're talking about
like ideas.
Okay, so
there's two different ways that you can look at this. I literally see China stealing all of our shit, right? If you send a product over to China, they're going to copy it. They're going to make their own.
Point.
We're talking about laws with. We don't have jurisdiction. Like we can't make laws for China.
I know. I feel like we should do that too. I feel like that should be allowed here. We should steal from each other.
We should steal.
Yeah,
it's a bad thing that China is stealing from us, but we should steal from each other.
Yes, and that's what I feel like everyone here has failed to own is the fact that you're kind of, it's actually theft. It's actually
why is it that we should, even though we think it is wrong that China is stealing from us, that we should steal from each other as Americans?
Because it drives innovation. If I can make the thing you can make, then I'm going to make the next thing that comes off of that faster than you are, right?
I'm just going to steal whatever you do, so why would you care?
Yeah, exactly. It spreads out the innovation across everything.
No, not exactly. You're saying you're going to make the next best thing. Why would you make the next best thing if I can just steal it?
Because I'm going to make the next best thing after that too.
Then I'm going to steal that
again.
too.
It's not as doing
better and better and better and better.
Right.
And all
where
the money goes into my pocket.
This is where MC is right. MC is right in that it's not a zero-sum game. It's not a zero-sum game. It's not.
Certain things it is.
Not.
The economy itself isn't. Like people with food, it's not. With music, it's not.
Well,
but with
those
a kitchen
are all
table, it
different
fucking
things.
is. People don't want an endless amount of kitchen tables.
I could
Usually
go
per
with
household,
one
you have
kitchen
one
table.
kitchen table. So if you buy a kitchen table from
That's kind of why I
me,
brought it.
then
That's
nobody is fucking buying that table from you, Box. And it
That's why
doesn't mean
Yeah,
that
and you
why I
other
can't
people
brought
sell
up
can't
the
buy
kitchen
tables from
tables
you.
because
But the people
I
that buy
created the
tables from
name
you,
kitchen table, and you're
guys,
not allowed
guys,
to sell it.
guys, we can't talk over each other. So if we both make tables, yes, it is not a zero-sum game in the case that if somebody buys a table from me, that means that you can't sell tables. But within that individual purchase, there's only one sale with that family of getting a kitchen table. So if they get it from me, then they're not getting it from you. Even if you created the table and I have some magic way to just copy it, you're still stuck with the table and no fucking money.
And there's 100 new families every day.
And if the 100 new families come to me, then I have 100 examples of copying your shit and taking your money when you get nothing, when you did all the work.
And then to circle back to the point I made before, you and Lutch are in this table fight battle where you're both trying to make tables. And then next week, Amazon makes a table better than yours. And they suppress your sales.
Well, then I just steal so we both steal the Amazon table.
Cheaper is the worrying problem. It's making it cheaper, really. You know, I mean, everyone makes shoes. Nike is a shoe.
Right, but you
Louis
don't want
Vuitton is a shoe.
Box. If you're selling tables, you don't want tables to be cheaper.
It's a form.
Let me ask you this, Box. Let me ask you this, Box. So you put in your name, Box LLC. Why'd you put the LLC behind that?
Oh, that was just a joke. It asked me for it, and I was going to say
graduated.
It was either that or graduated from Harvard.
Who here has used Wikipedia?
It was literally just a joke.
If you've ever used Wikipedia, you're a hypocrite.
Limited liability corporation.
Hold on,
I get it. I get the idea behind it. Like my
Yeah,
boss,
I-
like when you're saying like you just don't get big, I get that. Like my boss every now and then drags in his kitchen oven that he started our multi-million corporation business with, right? Like he started in his basement with an oven that his mom gave him.
And that's exactly what we're talking
And now we're making millions of dollars. And that's a different thing.
About property rights.
I'm not supposed to talk about what I make or how I make it or any of that other stuff. If I could, I would. I would. You know, and it's
I mean, they
MC, let's go to MC. Let's go to
legally. I
MC.
can't.
Guys, shut the fuck up. Let's go to MC.
I already made my point.
None of us fucking heard.
Wikipedia. Do you use Wikipedia?
What?
Every now and then.
So if you've ever used Wikipedia, it grew up without the restrictions to copyright laws. Do you agree that Wikipedia should exist?
Yeah. What did you say right before the question of should it exist?
Wikipedia and Linux.
What about? I just didn't hear what you said.
Grew up without strict copyright, benefiting millions.
Right. And so, as I said, if we never had IP rights, then I think I would be much more in line with you. But the fact that Zippy is talking about, we were talking about Amazon and saying Amazon used these IP rights to get so far ahead. Now that has already happened, just abolishing IP rights only then benefits those people who have already benefited from the IP rights that we had. I already said yes.
Then you don't believe in IP rights.
Fair use.
No, that's not
how
true.
so? How so?
Because they grew without
base argument. Oh shit! Because I guess you're right.
Linux and Wikipedia grew without strict copyright, benefiting millions.
Hold on. Why is using Wikipedia a necessary following that I don't believe in IP rights?
It's an open source argument at the
So
end of the day.
why is Wikipedia?
So is it the case that you can only believe that everything should have IP rights and that there can't be open source anything, or is that a false dichotomy? And where there are certain things where it makes sense for it to be open source, and there are certain things where it makes sense for there to be intellectual property rights.
So why is Wikipedia immune to copyright?
Let me ask this, MC. Let me ask you this: have you ever scrolled to the bottom of Wikipedia? That's because that's where the sources are. So if you're ever on a Wikipedia page, it's just a tip, scroll down to the bottom, and that's where they get their information from. And there's references. That's the difference.
Wikipedia's content is licensed under a Creative Commons.
I'm not saying I agree with Wikipedia. I think it's a CIA asset, personally. I think it's
anyone can use that.
But your argument's flawed because it's an open, like what Bach said, it's open source. If you ever scroll down to the bottom of pages, that's where the links are.
Yeah, some of the
where
shit's
you
wildly
can
inappropriate.
where you can see where they got the information from. So it's your whole philosophy about it, like because you use Wikipedia, it makes you like.
Okay, so as long as they provide the link to the Nintendo, it's okay to sell Pikachu dolls.
That's not what I've said at all. That's
well, that's what you're saying.
No,
you're saying it's okay
No,
because
that's not what I
Wikipedia
said.
You're
provides
jumping to
source
conclusions.
That's
You're
not what I
straw
said.
manning
So
to
if I
jump to your
provide
own
the
conclusion.
material,
I-
links to the material that I
don't-
used, that's what Wikipedia does. That's what you're
No,
saying.
it doesn't.
Why
with
does
no
that matter?
disrespect,
Why
Link,
is it? Explain
I
to
don't
me why
think
I
you
can't say
understand
this
what you're saying.
particular thing should be open source, but that doesn't mean we should abolish all IP rights. Why is that a nonsensical thing to say?
Okay,
If
so
anything, I mean-
Wikipedia, if anybody uses somebody else's direct material,
Bro, can you just
it's flagged
answer
for
a
copyright.
question, please?
What's the
Why is that a
question?
ridiculous thing to say? I don't need you to tell me about what Wikipedia is and how it works. I'm asking you a very specific question about the difference between having everything be open source and certain things be open source and still have IP rights in a certain form. Why is that ridiculous? It is ridiculous because...
I mean, it sounds like that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard because...
Okay, why?
Why?
That's what I'm asking
they're
you.
both mental fabrications.
Okay, what...
Right.
and keep going.
Let me ask
Yep.
this then.
Okay,
Yes,
wait,
they're
hold on.
mental,
Keep going. So they're both mental fabrications.
What can be imagined is the realm of imagination, and that should be protected at all cost.
All right, bro. Let me ask a question.
So why? So the question is, why is it a ridiculous thing for me to say that certain things should be open source and other things should be protected by
Because
IP
the
rights?
realm of
I'll just ask it over and
imagination
over and
should be
over
protected
and
at all
over and
costs.
over again.
What don't
I swear
you
to God,
understand
if you
about
say
my
the realm
answer?
of imagination again, I'm going to lose it.
The realm of imagination, mental.
Yeah, but it already exists. It's not in the realm of imagination. You could go to the site and see it. So again, I will ask you, why is it a ridiculous statement to say that certain things could be open source, but other things should have IP rights?
I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you clarify?
You said that using Wikipedia, because of the fact that it's open source, means that I don't believe in IP rights. And I said, no, that is not the case. I think there are certain things that should be open source and other things that are protected by IP rights. And you said that's ridiculous. And I'm asking you
How
why.
do you draw that line?
Yeah.
I'll answer a question if you answer my question. Why is that ridiculous?
So the mental fog here is this. My mental fog here is, how do you determine what someone originally owns? And
I don't know.
what
Why
originally
is it
just
ridiculous for me
theft
to
over
say
here.
that certain things should be open source and other things should have intellectual property rights?
So what
from the pro theft
from the
argument,
mind?
I just don't care.
Okay, you have every right not to care, but then you don't get to tell me what I
Right.
care about.
Yeah, that's true.
That's fine if you don't care that people steal shit.
That's absolutely true. Yeah,
But
yeah. So
call me crazy. I care if people steal shit.
Yeah, you actually have to own that, though. At the end of the day, if you want.
Yeah, I completely
own.
own. I will stand 10 toes down. I don't think it's okay to steal things.
Yeah.
I don't think it's okay
Yeah,
to
we're
steal
owning
things.
that.
Is it the worst thing in the world? No. I watch
not.
shows that I don't pay
It's
for
not.
that on sites all the time, but that is wrong of me to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. All right, cool. So we're talking about Wikipedia now. We're talking about information. How you all conflated intellectual property with a encyclopedia resource that's been on the internet for the last 2 decades, that's up to y'all. You're just strongman at this point. What I will say, there's no correlation. You're talking about an open source media platform that is mostly wrong, honestly. Wikipedia is not a good source of information. And you're choosing to apply that same belief that it is intellectual property. I have no idea what your correlation is. MC, you're not making any sense. Box, you're just interjecting to interject.
People make it free.
Neither of you all have added anything constructive to this conversation. Zippy at least came with thoughts and deep and trying to help. You all just like, what's your point?
That being said, we are coming up on we are past the 2-hour mark. So of course you guys know you can keep the party raging if you would like to, but we are going to wind down. So
could we move back to red sharing for a bit?
You said.
Could we move back to red sharing for a bit?
Say again.
could we move back to rev sharing for a bit?
Yep. Please.
Revenue sharing.
We'll come back to this MLS design.
Okay, so instead of trying to nuke or greatly overhaul IP rights, add the 20% rev share to IP rights. Basically, it lets you distribute as long as you're paying 20% of your revenue intake to IP creators. I mean, to the IP owners.
So, meaning, like, if I were to play, like, if I were to
Put a
play,
limit on what you could legally sue for.
hold on. I'm just trying to make sure we understand what we're talking about. So, Zippy, you're talking about, like, for example, if I were to play a clip from a movie on my stream, then it's not that they would copyright the stream, that there would just be a revenue share where any money that comes into my stream, they would get some.
They would get an equal split of the 20% is split equally to, you know, each IP that you distribute.
Can I ask you, where do you get that 20% number?
Just
or are
to
we just
keep
being
it,
like hypotheticals?
just to make it less burdensome to enter the market.
Enter which market?
So I'm with you. So that's the situation. So we have the rev sharing. That's what we mean by rev sharing, where if somebody else owns the intellectual property and I benefit or I benefit monetarily from that, then we split that. Okay, gone.
Yeah.
Can I just ask what
I'm
market?
on
Like,
well, hold on.
No. Let him ask his
question. I'm not trying to interrupt him. This is just I'm trying to break down myself.
Let CT ask his question.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Are you speaking more in like inventions and businesses, or just like where we were originally talking about like
everything but trademarks? Everything but trademarks.
So like every business.
Yes, everything but trademarks.
Okay.
Just there are so many lawsuits.
It sounds scary even to me.
And
yeah,
so
we all agree that rev sharing is a good thing. So proceed, Zippy.
I say set Pikachu free.
Shout out to Pikachu.
Shout out to Pikachu. Honestly, MC,
Pikachu should be as free as Wikipedia.
He's a good guy.
Yeah,
it
deals with copyrights and patents mainly. You know, trademarks.
Yeah, y'all just want Nintendo to make all the money from whatever. Look,
that's nice.
I want to be able to engage with the fans, bud.
I got a Venusaur right there, dog.
You understand? You're not allowing the fans to engage with Pikachu. You're keeping it all to Nintendo. You're fighting on behalf of a corporation.
Correct.
Correct.
I am in favor of keeping it to Nintendo.
Does CT think I can buy a license to use Pikachu? It's not, because they're IP laws. If I could buy a license to use it, I would, but I can't.
So would I, bro.
That's what Zippy is talking about. So let him finish talking about rev sharing.
Yeah,
so how would you want to what would you want to do with rev sharing? Zippy.
Think of it as like a universal licensing scheme for copyright and patents. You pay in, they basically leave you alone because they're getting, you know, a cut of whatever you can generate. And if you get big enough, you can, you know, go to them and make a contract and have a better deal. And if you get licensing deal, you don't have to pay 20% to them.
How do you get big enough without?
You can't though.
But that's all whim of the market. You know, that's all, you know, based up into whatever's trending. But you know, the IP owners still get a cut. The IP owners still get, you know, a 20% cut of, you know, market revenue.
But that's not tangible. I mean, to using Nintendo specifically,
not as tangible as IP rights.
Theory.
You know what? Let's switch from Nintendo to Big Pharma.
Let's see. I want to see if this question is. We may have kind of covered this ground, but maybe not. So we were talking before about what can be imagined, and M69 is saying if what can be imagined should be protected, is it protected via IP rights? But I thought MC was saying that which could be imagined should not be protected.
I tried to appeal to your better nature, CT, but apparently I can't do that. So now I'm going to let you have it. I'm going to replace Nintendo with Big Pharma.
Okay.
Now, because of what you said, I can't do my own research on medicine. I can't research the drugs, so I can't innovate medicine. Why do you think we haven't cured diseases? Because these are copyrighted with IP laws. Big Pharma.
Do you want me to answer that question?
Yeah.
You just asked me a question. Do you want me to answer
You're done.
You're okay. Do you want me to answer that?
Just answer it. Go.
It's over, buddy.
All right.
Just go.
The reason we haven't cured half the diseases we could probably cure right now is because of financial incentive. Because Big Pharma has a financial incentive to not cure people, but keep people sick. Because we are not in the business of healthcare.
And how do they do it? IP laws.
MC, don't accuse me.
If they don't have IP laws, they can't
one at a
do
time.
it.
One at a time. MC, you ask him a question, let him answer the question.
Don't accuse me of some shit and then keep interrupting me.
This is your fault.
It's my fault?
Just fucking talk, bro.
We do not cure people because there's more financial incentive to keep people sick. I'll keep it simple because you don't.
So fine. Let's say that's not even the case, and that the only reason there is such a halt in curing cancer and all these other things is because Pfizer and whoever else has these IP rights. Why then do we not go back to what I was saying before? And maybe medicine should be open source, just not movies and TV and stuff. Why is it? I still didn't get an answer on why it is ridiculous to think that both can coexist. You've presented a false dichotomy.
Sourced from other material, folklores. Are you crazy?
What?
That was a joke, dude. I was joking the whole time. You can't be serious.
About what? We were joking about what? I don't know you. I don't know your. I'm just going by what you say. I can't see your face. I can just hear your voice. What were you joking about?
What are you talking about?
The fact that I can't see your face.
I was joking before about Pikachu, but you're up here really saying that IP rights should be protected whenever that's the reason Big Pharma has the control over petroleum-based medicine?
That's not at all what I said.
You're an advocate for IP rights.
Yes, in certain instances.
So you're advocating for people not to be able to research medicine.
You have to listen.
That's right,
you have to listen.
Faggot.
You unmute yourself again, and I'm kicking you, bro.
Hold on.
Nigger.
Hold on. Everyone, hold on. Yeah, thank you. Sorry.
I tried. I had my fucking finger on the fucking remove the entire time because I knew it was coming. When you don't have any arguments, then you go and cry and use bullshit.
He's right about the medicine argument, but I mean, that was like...
Exactly what I said is what triggered him because he's a little fucking bitch that can't admit when he's wrong. Oh, no! You said something that makes sense! Oh, no! Oh, I'm going to use bad words. Cool, bro. Cool, bro.
There's an actual point there,
I'm convinced now. Now.
It's Box's turn. I'm finished.
I'm not going to rage out and drop. Oh, that's
no, yeah. I'm
actually Box. I came in to play this position, and I'm going to own it.
I know you're not
real quick, Box. I'm going to throw it back to you. But before I even brought him up, look in the private chat. N-words. Like, I don't care, but I still brought him up. Gave him the chance.
Yeah.
But that's
I actually agree with a lot of what he had to say. And that's not a joke.
Explain yourself. Why?
So the idea is that if you make something that I can't make, it is absurd to me. Period. And we're all tying ourselves in the knots, whether it's trademark or IP, and there's all these layers of lawyers. And if you're rich, you can do it. And if you're like, this is all utter bullshit. As far as I'm concerned.
So
right? Like, the only reason I don't is because it's illegal. If it wasn't illegal, I would do it, and I wouldn't feel bad about it. That's God's honest truth.
No, I get that. Were you here in the early part of the stream where I said I believe IP rights and copyright rights are abused by large companies?
No, I missed 15 minutes about like.
Yeah, we all agreed that there are.
I might have
abuses.
missed that whole argument. I kind of jumped in.
Yeah. We all agree that there are huge abuses with the IP system. We agreed that Amazon was able to get so far ahead because of IP laws. The big thing was that has already happened. Amazon has already used IP laws to get far ahead.
All of our shit.
Hold on. So if Amazon is already ahead because of these IP laws, just because it's because of the IP laws doesn't mean that, oh, that's the reason, so we get rid of it and now that's going to fix everything. That's not how reality works, because then all of the people who didn't get to benefit from those IP laws in the way that Amazon does or did now are going to get swallowed up because they don't have the opportunity to even compete.
Yep.
And
no,
so
I get all this. I get all this. I look at it more like there's like a fisher. There's a fisher. A fisher
Exactly,
and a
like
pirate
it's
argument kind of a thing going on, right? Like when you have all the fishers, then pirates will take over, and pirates can thrive when there's fishers, right? But if there are no fishers, then pirates can't survive at all, right? So I feel like it's widening the base of what's possible if you can take somebody else's idea without worrying about being sued over it, essentially, right? Like the Nike
but that's the nature of the
presumably
argument.
Nike's brand, presumably Nike isn't the swoosh. Nike is something that is not. They make shirts. They make a whole bunch of different shit, dude. You could get a whole bunch of Nike ice skates, right? And
right, but we agree.
Presumably their brand is not the swoosh.
Is way more expensive than
may I, Steelman,
and there's like a disconnect here
with...
where I'm not really gripping like.
Yeah,
let's
go to Zippy. What you got, Zippy?
Switching gears to pro IP. The whole, the core thing about IP rights is to give the creator / owner market focus.
Okay.
But see,
that protection allows the market focus, so they're able to more easily advertise the brand. So if you counterfeit it, you're disparaging the brand. So it.
Yeah. And then so fine. So if you take that point, so that's the steel man of at least my position. I think CT as well, but I'll speak for myself. And so if we have that, then we introduce the idea of certain things being open source. Like I would love for the TikTok algorithm to be open source, because I mean, it's China, but their algorithm is infinitely better than any social media that we have. So if that was open source, that would be great. And there's reasons to argue certain things should be open source and certain things shouldn't. And as before, what the fuck is his name? DJ Loser was all triggered. I was specifically saying that I agree that that just like with Amazon, the IP rights help help Big Pharma. And I agree with CT as well. That has a lot more to do with the fact that they can sell sell more medicine if they don't cure the thing. But both things are true. And so if that is open source, that would be a good thing. I don't understand why some things can't be open source and some things protected by IP rights. Can someone please address that is a false dichotomy, that either everything is open source or everything is protected by IP?
Where do you draw the line? That's what I asked originally. It's like, how are you going to be the one to draw the line? How do we draw that line? What are we,
that's a good question.
What do we want to protect and why?
I want real quick. Let me real quick and then CT. So Box, that is a good question, but that is a separate conversation.
Yep.
So go ahead, CT.
So the question is, where do we draw that line? We draw that line with laws around IP, copyright, and trademarks. That's where the line gets drawn. This whole argument is circular. You all keep saying that we don't need IP laws because they infringe on these, or they allow these big companies to steal from you. But the only way you're able to stop these big companies from stealing from you is if there's laws in place. And granted, I'll be the first to say you have to have lawyers, and that costs money, and that's part of the whole corruption. Is that Amazon has a couple $1 million worth of lawyers, and if you're a small business, you can't afford the lawyers.
Yep.
That's the argument. It's not are the IP laws wrong? It's that should we allow Amazon to abuse the IP rights and sue people into the dirt? That's the same thing with fucking MC and his Pikachu argument. Nintendo will sue you into the dirt if you try to start trying to make Pikachu stuffed animals and cards. You will get sued into the dirt.
Putting limits on what they can sue for and how that whole process takes place basically could put an end to that whole situation.
But see, if you're arguing against IP laws, and then in the next breath you're saying we need more limits on IP rights. What are you saying?
I'm trying to steelman this argument as best I can, essentially.
Yeah,
right. My heart tells me one thing, and then
let's get an understanding of what your actual position is before.
Mine.
Yeah. So let's go back to what I presented to Zippy earlier on. Let's say that it's your king box, and you can make when it comes to intellectual property, you can make it any way that you want. How am I, as a streamer, protected from other people stealing my intellectual property?
You would go what do they call that, tort? You would go to a civil court and then ask for damages that you could prove happened.
What are the damages?
So
I know what are the damages. Vary in every
their argument.
That's why you go to court.
Well, but then you do agree that there should be some way that I am allowed to retain the rights over my intellectual property.
Yes.
So you're not in the same boat as Zippy of saying abolish them completely.
I think that you should be able to break it much more freely than we can right now, and I think that the price for like if I wanted to steal the swoosh, even if I wanted to make tables that didn't say not Nike and I just put the swoosh on it, they can fuck off as far as I'm concerned.
And
it's
listen,
none of their fucking business if I decide to use their swoosh or not. It's just that simple.
I would say to that argument, there's been a lot of successful companies that have used that tactic, that have used.
Yeah, China.
No, not even China. I'm saying if you can actually plagiarize someone's logo in a sarcastic way, and you can argue it as free use, there's been companies that have done that successfully.
If you could do it for Ferrari, then we'd be making headway.
And that FBI.
Box, this is the video that Box put in the Discord. Copying is not theft. So
this is where I got that ditty. I heard it in my head, and I found
you stole it from here. All right.
There's an FBI warning.
Copying is not theft. Stealing a thing leaves one less.
How fucking ironic would it be if they claim the stream because I played their thing?
They will never.
I think you got cooked.
That's what copying is for.
They would never.
Copying is not theft. If I copy yours, you have it too. One for me and one for you. That's what copies can do.
Yeah, but see, that's what you're saying.
It's 1 minute. Let's just play it and then we'll talk.
Have to take the bus, but if I just copy it, there's one for each of us.
And again, like that's the part where it doesn't make
Making more of a thing.
It's not a zero-sum game.
Copying.
But see,
sharing ideas with everyone. That's why copying is fun.
All right, so I can agree that when we are talking about certain things, that that is why I personally don't feel bad, even though I understand that it is theft when I go to 1 through 3 movies and watch. I just watched Superman yesterday, and actually, Maker for that matter. That is theft, but I am okay with that level of theft because of the fact that because of what you were bringing up before about how it doesn't really hurt them. But if we're talking about a bicycle, then that does not apply because you can't just copy a bicycle. You have to make another bicycle, and that's not a copy.
Yeah, you're actually putting money in to make the blasted bicycle.
Yeah, it. There's 3 different levels. I've tried to reiterate this multiple times. There's trademark.
Yep.
There's copyright, and there's intellectual property.
Yep.
Those are 3 separate categories. So if and that's why the first line of that thing, copying is not theft, and I brought up counterfeiting money. If counterfeiting money is not theft, what is it?
No, it was a solid argument, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's the strongest.
It was so good. That was so good. Props.
I mean, that's but that's that, and I didn't mean this as like gotcha. I think it is a good argument. I'm like, that's why there's a lot of companies that don't necessarily like knockoff goods. Knockoff goods are counterfeits, but the way our law is written is after a certain amount of time, you're allowed to knock off goods, and that's the same with medicine. There's to circle back to the insulin conversation. Yes, there's name brands of insulin, and they're made by pharmaceutical companies. But if you go to your doctor and you tell them, I've been there. If you go to your doctor and you tell them, I don't have money to pay Novo Nordisk or Pfizer for their insulin, you can buy generic insulin from your pharmacy. It's like $30 a month. It's a little more complicated. You don't have the fun syringe that has like the numbers on the side. You have to actually use an actual needle and like pull out your milligrams and then inject yourself. But it's there. It's not like that vial of insulin cost like
pennies.
10 cents. Yep. I think that's what
Yeah.
was that.
Yep.
But and you can buy it for that. It's just once they put the name brand on it, then it becomes a couple $100, and that's a whole other can of worms.
I mean, before he went off,
right or wrong, but that really is the essence of this whole argument. That's the difference of generic goods versus trademarked goods versus like intellectual property. Granted, should medicines fall more under intellectual property?
Public rights.
Public rights, yeah, probably. I mean, you can make insulin for like a nickel. Like one
we
dose
subsidize them. Why don't we benefit from the benefits that they get too?
Yeah, and I completely see that point. And
I get it. Before he jumped off the N-bomb train, like he was on a roll. He had a point, and then he just flopped the whole argument. That's very unfortunate.
Well, it's because of the question that I asked that still not been answered. Why is it unreasonable to say that certain things should be open source and certain things should be protected by IP? Can anybody answer that question?
In chat,
can anybody answer that question, please?
Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. There is we should have some things that are less, rigid under the under IP rights.
Yeah, but Zippy, to circle back to what you were saying, like an hour ago at this point, you kept bringing up like it'll eventually level out. What makes you think that? What
is the process that would make it level out? That's I was confused about that too.
I believe in that too.
So either of you, what would be the process on how that actually happens?
The way I see it is that the big corporations are so fat and wasteful that they can't bear their own weight. And if they had any real competition, that they'll slowly start to die off.
Amazon is going to slowly die off? Like, what is going to cause Amazon to slowly die off? That's the point that I'm missing.
Because the market will create new levels of competition that will be able to compete enough to gain the interest of more investors.
How can you hold on to a monopoly when everyone can copy your shit?
I still don't get
if everyone can copy your shit, how can you maintain a monopoly on your shit?
Because there's one person who's going to copy it the best.
Yeah, and it might not be you.
Yeah, right. So that's a problem. If I'm the original inventor and somebody is just better at taking my idea, then they don't deserve the revenue from my idea. They should they can license my shit. They can pay me to use that to make us both money. But if you're just going to take my shit, why would I create
right now? It's just
initial question that I started this whole thing with. What is my incentive to do better if anything that is better can be stolen? Why would I not just steal better? Why do better instead of steal better?
Yeah, if you're creative, you're damned to create. So you will be creating whether you want to or not. I know.
Box, you said something just a second ago. You said if they lawyer up fast enough.
Yeah, in our current climate, but
that
why is that
statement?
Why is that better than
hold
what we
on, hold on, please. That statement is already wrong because you're saying if you lawyer up fast enough, the big companies are already lawyered up.
Yeah. That's just to the point. Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter how fast you lawyer up.
What do you mean exactly? He just.
Well, because I was thinking in more like a small business terms where like you're stealing from the dude across the street that you're both making shoes and now you're stealing each other's stitching patterns and the stitching patterns are patented.
Right. Well, that's precisely why I don't see a difference between the scale. I understand that it is less effective.
Something to think, if I may, something to think about. If there's more competition, the lawyers will be looking at, racket and trust issues the big corporations have, and it will even out eventually. But the problem is
the
that
big
it's
corporations
not
are loyal.
ideal. It's not ideal. That's the problem with it.
Let me put this to y'all. The lawyers don't care who's right or wrong. The lawyers make their money either way.
Yeah, the small businesses will get lawyers and sue, and the courts will figure it out.
No, you're missing my point. You're missing my point.
They will get lawyers and sue and go bankrupt trying to fight Amazon in court.
The lawyers don't care who wins. The lawyers get their 30% off the top regardless.
Yeah.
If you lose or win, so to say.
But even before we get there, if you're a small business and you're going in any legal battle against Amazon, they're just going to draw it out. And like LCD said, the lawyers don't care. So the lawyers are happy to collect billable hours while Amazon is throwing this document and that document and that document. And then you go bankrupt and Amazon, it's just built into their bottom line. How is that helpful to society?
Throwing lambs to the fucking lions.
No,
it's very weird to me, specifically with you, Box, that you're on the side of the corporation as opposed to on the side of the blue collar working. Well, maybe not blue collar, but the small business working man. Like these IP rights are what protect. I agree that initially, certain brands like Amazon have used them to get ahead, but at this point, if we were to just get rid of them because of the fact that Amazon has already used these laws, then it's pulling the ladder up. Amazon gets to use IP rights to get big, but nobody else. And you're like, yeah, I'm totally cool with that.
I'll be honest, I completely agree, Ledge. I feel like I'm making liberal arguments.
No, you're making fair points because, like I said, it is not ideal, and it will be kind of hellish for 10 or 20 years.
You keep saying 10 or 20 years. What the fuck do you mean?
What is happening in those 20 years? That's what we're trying to ask you.
Competition will wear away at the monopolies.
We've been in competition for 70 years. We've had
competition.
That's because the
let me take this.
Let me take going on.
Groups.
That's
because
the law.
I'm going to do this Raging Tomato style.
My bad.
Zippy, what is going to happen in those 10 to 20 years that would cause Amazon to fall off?
They can't maintain market lead.
Why not?
Competition.
From who?
Everybody.
Like? You're just saying
local markets, regional markets, small business working together, networking.
How do they get ahead when Amazon is what it is?
Because local communities will support local businesses and it will kind of scale up. Yes, I know it's not ideal.
No, but it's not that it's not ideal. It's that but people don't do that. There are already small businesses and people already pick Amazon over those small businesses. As CT brought up before, those small businesses then get
because the Amazon isn't near absolute monopoly.
Okay, and so even if they used IP rights to become that monopoly, getting rid of the IP rights is what protects the smaller businesses. But
the smaller businesses can also use any IP rights,
and
so it balances out.
I don't.
And Amazon.
I'm gonna give you before I bring them back up. I'll give you one last chance. How does that happen?
Competition. That's all I got. That's all I can say. That's all I've got.
I think you're vastly underestimating the ability or the desire for people to care about small businesses. Yes, I think even us here in conceptually, we very much care about small businesses, but I'm not. If I need something, I've got the goddamn app on my home screen. So even though I agree with you and that I want these things and I don't want giant corporations to take over, the convenience is there. And this is the same thing we were talking about the other day with the plastic bags. That, well, if you just do this, if everybody did this, everybody is not going to do that. That's the point.
Yeah, it's like what like what M169 just said about like cost of like what I've been saying is like if I can save $10 online, people will do that. I understand there's some people that have the money to be able to pay small businesses.
Privilege.
But it's privilege, yeah. At the end of the day, small business costs more. And honestly, Zippy, I see your point of like in a perfect world, people would
if I may
rebel, but they can't. And
if I may, Amazon would probably make more money being, more supply chain, getting crap to all the businesses than it would be being trying to sell things from a storefront itself.
I'll tell you what, Zippy, they do both.
Yes.
Very well. Very effectively.
And we agree that IP rights help them be in that position, but because that is already the case,
let me bring up a separate topic.
That abolishing IP rights is not good. So we're gonna close down. So I'm gonna give CT was up first, so I'm gonna throw it to CT for last words, then Box, and then of course our special guest Zippy. Last words for the people, sir.
On rev share.
Was that?
I'd like to say one last thing on rev share.
Oh no, you and me are gonna. They're just extras.
Okay,
so I'm gonna let them say their piece, and
y'all finish your show, Zippy. I just hope. First off,
No, you're making good points. You're making good, valid, solid points.
I got you.
I'll keep it simple. Let's. Thanks for having us on to have this conversation. Next time we do this, I want to see more people in the chat pop up and say their piece. As much as the chat is fun to read, it's the fact that Lech will bring all this up to say our points. You should definitely do that. Hop in, whether it's for 10 minutes or 2 hours. Just hop in and talk. I hope we go to the after party for the people that are here. Go to the Discord. There's a link at the top of the chat. You can go in the Discord. We can have this conversation for another however long it lasts. I do think, honestly, Zippy, you confused the hell out of me. If I'm gonna be honest, I really didn't know what your point was. Box, I think you came in, like Lech said, you caught me off guard because you're defending these corporations that are terrible and saying that IP is the problem. I think IP is what protects us from these large corporations fully take over. If we're talking, because we're on the edge, the corporations are about to take over. We have to have intellectual property to be able to defend from these corporations. I guess I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Well said. Well, thank you for coming up, brother. Everybody put CT in the chat. I will see you in the after party.
Yeah. Everyone, click that link. It's in the chat. Go to the after party. We'll be able to talk freely. You can all tell me how wrong I am or how right I am.
You can say the words that MC was saying, and we just can't say it here.
You'll be forever wrong.
All right, Boxy boy, what do you got for us? Last words for the people. What do you have to say about IP rights? Anything that we discussed? Floor is yours.
Yeah. So basically, I'm trying to steelman the copying is not theft position essentially, and this was a mix between my actual beliefs and me just honestly trying to steelman the position. So I'd just like to get that out in the front of everything. So it's a mix of both there. Really, I think if there is no bad that comes from making these things less restrictive. When I said lawyer up, it's the idea that you're going to have to spend money and then do all we can make this simpler. I think we could make it easier for the everyman to understand. And I feel like some of these outcomes, when you're asking for the moon, you're going to get sued like Alex Jones for $1 trillion. No one in the history of man could feasibly pay something like that off, but that's something that comes out of a civil outcome when you get a bunch of people together and there's just going to be this is what it costs. This is what it costs. I feel like we should marry what it actually costs closer to what it would cost to fight it in court. And I feel like a lot of this would go away and it would drive innovation and imitation. And I think those are both good things.
Fair enough. It certainly is not an easy subject. So I appreciate you guys coming up and trying to help work this out. Thank you for coming up, Box. Always a pleasure to see you. Hopefully I will see you in the after party.
Go to the Discord.
All right, Zippy, my boy. Zippy, my boy. So you wanted to now that it's just you and I.
You and the eternal silence.
What is it about the rev share? Because I think we have that seems to be the best point of contact for middle ground, because
Yeah.
I agree with
Yeah.
the idea of rev share. How do you see it replacing IP rights, or does it not replace IP rights? How
It
do you see that?
modifies it.
Okay.
The big caveat to rev share is that, hang on, let me clear my throat. At least I'm not licking myself.
Sure.
Well, I've got tentacles for that, I guess. But the caveat to rev share is that it has to be published to the public. So things within businesses are protected until they officially, publicized it.
Mm-hmm. And then,
but what rev share does is it basically allows anyone to make and distribute the IP, but they have to pay the IP owner.
so it would be kind of
Universal license.
Yeah, so it would be there's no mechanism, there's no legal mechanism that I have this idea so you can't use it. It's more so this is my idea, but anybody can use it. But if somebody uses it, then I get something from it.
Only if you publish it to the public.
Yeah, I mean, I don't that sounds good. That sounds good, but
the crux of the theory is that it's load balanced across the whole market. And if the IP owner groups want their money, they'll have to create the service that, pays them. So that means any IP owner can join the service to get paid. So in theory, it should create a crescendoing effect of, payment services.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that is because that is still IP rights. I think you do yourself a disservice by talking about abolishing IP rights. I think if you
that's kind of the rabbit hole I'm down now, trying to make it work, and the OCD must be obeyed.
Yeah, I think if you, because I mean, we talk about semantic obfuscation, but rhetoric does matter, and so exactly with abolish the police, when that's not really what they meant, then for reasons beyond that, but that was a big reason why it didn't catch on, because rhetoric matters, and the idea that we have no police is not the same thing as what they were saying. And so when you're saying abolish IP rights, I don't necessarily think that you're actually proposing that. I think you're proposing something a lot more reasonable.
Well, the OCD and all that fun stuff, but rev share kind of works in what we have now. Hairball, well, you do got the hair. Glorious, long, flowing hair.
We're good. Keep going.
But I'm trying to think. I kind of want to make brand damage, get rid of brand damage, because the IP owner conglomerates will do everything they can to control, not just, the IP reputation and, the brand reputation. They will do anything to control. But other than those two, points, the current the current IP law is the same. It's a quick and easy access point for distribution. Fair use is still valid, but you need a lawyer to prove fair use. So the rev share thing, just I'm paying in, I'm good to go.
And I don't know if you're aware of this, but YouTube already does have
they've already got AI scrounging, and even you still have the IP bots, the companies that hunt around for IP. A lot of them are still not actually part of an IP, legitimate IP. They're claiming public domain and whatnot. So if you
Yeah, and I mean, I think it works like specifically that the Trump cats and dogs song. They're eating the dog, eating the dog. Whenever I play that, there is a I get a notification of rev share for that period of the stream. So I'm not exactly sure how it works. I don't know if just by using that song they get half of like the entire stream, but it does already exist, and I think it is good, especially because I can then make that decision. That is it worth it for me to play the song for whatever effect I want to have, and pay for that versus I can't play that because they're gonna punish me.
Yeah,
I agree that the former is a better system. It's just confusing when you say abolish.
Yeah,
copyrights.
Yeah, I will have to work on the theory and work out, the legal logic and layer it, and maybe in another 10 years I'll figure it out. I mean,
when Amazon's gone, then you'll just be able to tell us what happened because it will have already happened.
Yeah, because rev share is kind of simple in comparison.
Yeah, I agree. All right, man. Well, I hope you will join us in the after party. I am doing an after, even though this is not a Monday, Wednesday, Friday stream. We are going to do an after party because I have some work to do. So I'm going to be here anyway. And I love you guys. So, Zippy, final words for the people. Give us your bottom line, the best you got. Tell the people what they want to hear.
I want to rant about that FBI label. Before the DMCA, you could make copies of stuff to play for your personal usage. But after the DMCA, with the digital protections, it's a federal crime to break the protection, though technically if you code the digital breaking, the cracking yourself, you're fine. But if you release, it's like the DMCA is just such horrible law because fair use has practically died because of it. And not to mention, end user ownership with them basically just claiming you can't fix the stuff you own. It's just insane. And worse yet, farmers within like in the first 5 years of the DMCA being made, farmer equipment was exempt from it.
Oh, really?
Like 10 or so years ago, maybe 5 to 10 years ago, restaurant equipment was exempted from it.
Really?
And at least in the last like 2 or 3, military equipment has been finally exempted from. It's like the DMCA is such, it's such illegal law because.
Well, I'm definitely down to roll that back. That is for sure. So, I mean, this is, obviously a complex topic that we are likely going to talk about many times. So I really appreciate you coming up and having this conversation. No, I know I'm coming from ignorance, so it's not as easy as somebody who
I'll pop it into the after party since I've made it this long.
Word up. So let's go do that. I'm going to kick you out of here.
Let me feed the dog one last time.
Oh, feed the dog, baby. Let's feed the dog. We love feeding the dog. Let's get the full view.
You better not
and again,
decline me, mother. Come on.
If you guys are disciples, make sure that you join the Discord, be the after party, and so we can. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, hold on. Take two. Oh, where is it? Boom. Oh, that's right. There we go. And again, Zippy, TheIndianJesus. Thank you. So very.
Gotta support my brother from another mother.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you so much, brother. I will see you over there. Peace. All right. We did it. We done it. I think I have a much better idea of what the general position is. And I don't necessarily fully agree with it, but I definitely have a better understanding of it. And maybe we're going to do this again if we can iron out some of the details. But thank you guys for hanging out. A big shout out to our donations. We had M169. We had our boy Box with the $5 making you Allah. We just saw Zippy with the Rumble Rants, and of course, the Viewerski, sponsor of the stream with the PayPal. Thank you so very, very, very much, guys. I know you could be doing anything else in the world, and yet, you are here hanging out with me and Morty. It means the world to me, guys. Thank you so very, very much. I really hope I will see you in the after party. Until next time, guys. Once again, this is Morty, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace.